Welcome to Game Changer Weekly. John, how are you doing this Tuesday evening?
What an evening, man. It's been really eventful. We were going to stop in here, do the Dream On, review. We were going to talk about Bloodsport, maybe make an announcement about our guest for next week. And then all of a sudden, everything's just been in some crazy place. Short answer, I'm doing great, man. How you doing tonight, B?
I am doing good on the slow news day Tuesday, and we are joined by our East Coast correspondent, Frank. How are you doing tonight?
Listen, I don't know what you guys are talking about. It's been a pretty easy Tuesday for me. I don't know what you guys are going on about. All I have to worry about is that I'm almost out of hair gel. You know, I'm taking sponsorships for that. By the way, if anybody wants to sponsor this. Anyway,
I think I might take up drinking after this one. I've had the shakes for the last 4 hours after everything going on out here. So I don't know where we're sitting at. We like to wait for about 100 or so.
We're there, 120 already.
All right, then. So we'll just go ahead and run into it. Usually it takes a couple minutes. Thank you, everyone, for coming in here tonight. Listeners, I do want to get one thing out of the way first that's really important to us here at Game Changer Weekly. Brent and I have had one single goal for the longest time, and it was released just a couple days ago, and most know by now we're working with GCW and Brett Lauderdale on a podcast together. Our project is to reincarnate a beloved 3.5-year-old dormant podcast called The History of GCW. This is going to be on their Patreon. We're known for longevity over here at Game Changer Weekly, and this project was taken on to build a library of episodes where fans can watch any old show, then they can jump on Patreon and listen to Brett's thoughts and stories from that show. We just recorded and published NGI 3 a few days ago, and on the next episode, we'll be talking about The World on GCW Part 2. This was their first show back after the COVID lockdowns. Just wanted to kind of announce that. We do have something else in the works, but it's not going to be there until it happens. Anything you wanted to kind of say about that, Brent?
Yeah, Rose called in the chat last week. We saw it and we're like, oh shit, somebody got it already. Yeah, I kind of tweeted out the other when it happened after the night we recorded. It was a big deal for us, big deal for me, really. To when being a fan of the Patreon, I've been a fan of the history of GCW and learning more and hearing the story. So when it kind of went dormant for a little bit, being on the Patreon, I was kind of asking for it nonstop. And now that, yeah, as you said, our podcast has kept on going and going and growing and growing. He trusted us to do and be the ones to restart it. So I was very thankful for that. The listeners that always check in every week, I guess I think are a big part of that too, showing our support and supporting us every week that we do our show. So thank you guys. And yeah, I'm excited for it. I can't wait to do some more shows. That first one was fun. Yeah, we kind of had to find our footing there with Brett and get on the same cadence as we kind of have gotten our chemistry, even though our chemistry still shit anyway. So we'll get there and we'll learn. And I'm excited to grow on the podcast and hear more stories. And like, I like hearing the fans' questions really there. Like I really had like only 2 or 3 questions outside of what the fans asked. And I just liked hearing what they liked hearing too. So keep it going, by the way, everyone on Patreon. That was good questions. And I can't wait for the next one. Thank you all for helping be a part of it.
Yeah, I don't know how many we've looked at here, but here we go. Yo, Rose called it. What? Glad y'all part of. Yes. Thank you so much, Rose. We've had a lot of people chiming in and saying, hey, well earned, whatever. Listen, we did it for a long time and we finally have one wonderful thing that came our way. We will take it.
Jim.
And we're happy you're happy.
Yeah. Sorry.
I mean, Jim.
Over you. Yep.
Oh, yeah. And
Frank.
right underneath that, I can't highlight chat tonight.
Gotcha.
Grios and Milk, all the way from across the world, listening in the middle of the morning over there. Chad Mins. Man, I hope you come to LA sometime soon, and I'm in the same area. I really do want to say hi when I get a chance, brother. We love you.
Listen, I was so happy when I texted John on Sunday morning. He's like, "Hey, I could say this for the first time. A listener recognized me in public." So Jim, thank you.
That's awesome. That's cool. Yeah.
Do you want to go right into the J Cup announcement that we have here, February 15th and 16th of 2025?
I missed it.
You look surprised. Oh, okay.
Was it on a show or was it a tweet? Because if it was a tweet, I just now undid my mute for GCW for the weekend.
No sweat. That was on Dream On. I think it was announced in one of like the little breaks in between.
I might have stepped away. I might have stepped
Yeah.
away and missed it. That's
I didn't
awesome.
catch that either. I was staring at the screen the whole show, and I must have missed that too. So that might have been like like a poster right after. But
it may have been on Bloodsport in between two matches.
it probably was on Bloodsport because I remember most of the interlude trailers from Dream On. So
where's it going to be at? Is it at the White Hall Center again?
Yes.
Nice, bravo.
We're
That's
going
good.
right
That's awesome.
So I wanted to just bring this up real quick. Whoever won that belt has held it for the entire year. Any wrestlers on your radar for the next JCW World Champion?
Damn, I gotta go my notes, man. It's been such a crazy day. I actually did have a couple of them, based off of kind of what we were seeing this weekend. Frank, you could go ahead first. I gotta find my notes. What do you think is going to be JCW?
You know, my last year, like, you know, great one, knocked it right on the head. He was my pick last year. I think Alec Price, if he wasn't mixed up in the tag team scene right now, Alec Price would have been my perfect pick for the JCW belt.
I said that a while ago too. When Price was on his big winning streak, I was like, that's a perfect belt for him to elevate. That's like the Intercontinental, just workhorse belt, and he would do great things with it. I agree with you.
You know, it has slotted into that IC workhorse belt purpose, category, whatever you want to call it. And it hasn't been as, I wish it changed hands just a couple more times than it has, because it's only changed hands at the Jacob. So
I agree big time. That's why I had to find my notes. It was just it's such an obvious answer that I forgot it. Blake Christian for me, like, I like Masha as champion. I just want to see better challengers. Make it worth something. Marcus Mazur's a good one.
I had this in my notes for later, but I think Blake coming in and attacking Santana after the JCW match was not a coincidence. I think that there's truth to Blake potentially trying to position himself for the JCW belt, just based off if we see Blake go after losing JCW challengers. If there's a pattern of that, appearing, I can see that being potentially an out of tournament challenge for Masha's JCW belt, because the JCW belt has been in that, champion versus local hero kind of slot for a little bit. So,
No, I'm right there. I think Blake's like natural fit though, because they have like a feud. They have a natural feud built in. Every time they've hit the ring, they've always connected chemistry wise. And I just think that natural feud and story that they could tell will help lend more credibility to that title. Even if Masha wins it, I think a story it's something of a purpose instead of, as you guys said, the local heroes winning it. I've been saying that for a while, and I agree. I don't mind her as champion, because she's like, in this night, she looked really good, but I just want to see more. John, who's yours?
More, period.
True, yeah. You're muted again. We're on fire tonight.
Okay, here's what's going on. Like I said, it's just been a wild night. And if anybody ever watches my glasses, or if they can see my complexion, you'll constantly see black, white, black, white. That's me flipping screens. I'm looking at these numbers. I'm over here looking at this. I got the Twitter feed going on. I've got a messenger. I got a thing going on Facebook right now. There's a lot going on right now. So, okay, so a wild one. Someone took my Alec Price. I think that's fantastic there. I wouldn't do it again, but I would not. I almost said Jordan Oliver just to get him in one thing, but he's already kind of proven that he doesn't need that.
He doesn't need it
longer. No. And I'm always a big fan of putting something small on, say, Cole Radrick. He doesn't need it. I feel he's bigger than that. Damn, I think just for shits and giggles, maybe putting it on Broski Jimmy. I'm almost healed out, but that would be another belt to deathmatch royalty.
That could, we're getting into the the storyline aspects of it more than, like, the workhorse aspects of the JCW belt. Putting the belt on Jimmy might be the thing that snaps him out of Broski Jimmy and brings him back to Deathmatch White's Jimmy.
Amen. I'm all for it. I want Deathmatch White Jimmy.
That might be the thing that snaps Jimmy out of being Broski and snaps Jimmy into being his own person again.
That'll be interesting. I know he likes what he's doing too. So he might have to he was talking online. I think it was on, it was on Patreon's GCW official podcast there with Brett, that Jimmy said he was thinking about renewing his contract with Deathmatch Royalty. So you never know. Take that for what it is, but it could always be a swerve. What do you say we go on to Dream On?
Real fast, though, I like this idea too. Like, I'm all for surprises. Like, keep us on our toes. A surprise drop to like one of these local talents with some of these bigger names now that like they're getting bigger. Would be very cool. So even if for one night, the next night drop it back to somebody else in a scramble or some other bullshit. Like, I think that'd be cool. Like, why not? Like, if you have these titles, that we just kind of talk about the extreme title. If you have all these titles, why not have some fun with it if you're not using a story with it?
Or what if you use that, and you drop it to a local hero, and then you just Santino Morello them, and they just instantly promote to regular roster?
I mean, we've seen people catch fire like that. Why not? Like, I think that like a good one would have been like Brooke Havoc. Maybe if we know we're going to get her for 6 shows, like, hey, hot shot her right away with something like that. And I think use it to hot shot people. Use it in different ways instead of just putting it on like just local matches. Something we've said forever, but I know we don't want to go too far into it.
Ellen Feldman, Jack Cartwheel. Nice choice there also. I like that a lot. We've been picking a lot of the younger guys. I feel like we're treating it like an IC title. And what's wrong with that?
Nothing. And it could go both for, hey, when it's JCW Showtime, like it's the top of the card, the main event, and then showcase it on GCW, keep it fresh and use it. And like, I don't know what they want to do with JCW.
I mean, there hasn't been a JCW show to broadcast to showcase the JCW belt on. But that's a whole nother issue that I think we probably won't have time to get to tonight. So
not tonight, at least. I was right there. That you finished my sentence. Like, but I don't remember when the last JCW show was. Like, we in our little notes, like we had a little talk. I was like, man, it feels like the JCW kind of not lost its luster. But I know Brett asked about like a while ago, like, what do you guys think about weekly shows in Philadelphia? And like, they kind of got like a good response and could. I see the positives here and there, but yeah, as you said, that's a total different discussion.
There is that's an interesting thought because there is enough of a Mark stronghold down in South Jersey that may be able to support a weekly JCW show because for a while there were weekly Monday nights happening at H2O right across the bridge in Cherry Hill. So, having it say at a Voltage or something similar to a Voltage Lounge in Philly isn't the stupidest idea. I don't know if you're laughing at me or if you're choked on this.
I'm laughing at
fucking
Green Cane got me. Sorry, I was
my
dude. Blues, all these other canes. Green, I wasn't expecting green. Sorry.
There's a Coke cane coming around. I think there's a soda based cane, or unless I misread that, I think there's a soda based cane.
Tombstone Jesus for JCW champ.
Well, I kind of brought up. Sorry, go ahead, John. Go. Tombstone Jesus.
I can't click on the things tonight. Otherwise, I would. But yeah, Tombstone Jesus for JCW champ. I would have put Tombstone Jesus because he has this little bit of a following there. I would have put him with Too Tough Tony, and have them have their own little group. Anyway, I'm so sorry.
Like I brought up like what bring LA Fights back too and just like run once a month LA Fights, once a month JCW, use some of that undercard talent at each faces and maybe even like throw in once in a while.
We do need something to, if you're going to bring new faces to GCW, introducing them on that lower card is the way that when they do show up in GCW, we're excited for it. And we know their face, and we know their chants, and we know their bits, and we know their cadence to like they 1, 2, 3.
One more time, because he's trash.
We know that they're always gonna hit their 5 moves of doom, and then we always know, bang, 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 bang. We always know how to do this, that, the third thing.
No more JCW. Hey, I mean that's kind of what we're having now, anyways. No more JCW. They're just using those letters for the title, and I don't hate it either. But
yeah, I don't hate it either.
Yeah.
All righty, you ready to go into Dream On? Rock and rolling?
Dream On. All right. Yep. Sorry. One of us was going to do that tonight. I guess I had to be the first one.
You're it.
All right. We will see how far along we get with this. GCW's Dream On was from the American Dream Retail and Entertainment Complex in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
It's a mall.
What a mouthful.
Come on, man.
So the show opened with a video package. It's a replay of
follow,
the Effie and Mance feud over this past year. The music chosen was Limp Bizkit's My Way. They went old school here. I think that was Emil's idea off the top of my head. After the opening music plays, we go live to the American Dream Retail and Entertainment Complex Mall. I love the place. Brett and GCW, I feel like they really knocked it out of the park on this one. Fans were everywhere. Seats were full. People lined up around the rails on the second and third levels to catch a view. Frank, how was your view? You were here live, and that's why our East Coast correspondent is on
Coliseum vibes. Having people hanging from the rafters on the second and third balconies is such a wonderful sight to see. I specifically decided to sit on the second balcony because I've sat ringside enough times at GCW shows that I know exactly what the experience is.
Now, did you have to pay tickets like that were specifically like, were there seats up there, or was like anybody could have just saw it? Okay.
No, so the ticketing was if you had a GA band, you were either a second row GA or a third floor GA, and then the floor specifically surrounding the there was ropes blocking the first 5 feet off the balcony. I mean, off the railing. So if you could only get a ticket on those up seat from the second floor, so if you were GA standing for those. For that railing. There were no seats. You were just kind of leaning up against the chair. I happened to get into one lucky spot near the food court where there was a picnic table. So I had a picnic table, just the back of it, where we threw our bags and whatnot. And most of the section that I was with was your standard peanut gallery from a Jersey show. Most of the regulars.
No, sorry.
No, honestly, yeah, it was a lot of those DME chuds were up in that section with me. And anything you heard that was not a standard GCW or wrestler name here, that was probably from my section. We were the ones getting all those completely out of pocket chants going. And me and a couple other people, shout out Richie from Wrestle Death, we were conducting that crowd like an orchestra. Up from the second balcony, just with the projection we could get from the second balcony. It was great.
It had a Mad Max Thunderdome kind of thing going on because
that Coliseum, just vertical, just hanging from the rafters type. Yeah.
And you with your voice and some of the people in your crew like yelling down on the crowd kind of lets them know on the floor, hey, this is what's going on. And live, we could see them looking up. Constantly.
Watch the show again and take a drink every time you see a wrestler look up about 7 o'clock at Hardcam. Nice. That was where we were. We were just to the left of that second floor Hardcam, and every time you just looked right up, and it was great. The crowd was less GCW regulars than usual, but it wasn't. I know the show sort of vaguely promoted as family friendly wrestling at the mall. I don't think it was promoted more as a GCW show. I think it was promoted more as a wrestling show rather than specifically GCW. There wasn't as many families like off the street who had no idea what GCW was. It was more of either wrestling fans from AEW because Full Gear was the same night right down the street, or there was people who were brought in with either the Kurt Angle and the Mick Foley signings. And I could tell, obviously I could recognize people because I'm at every show and I know faces pretty well. There were a lot of people just coming out of the woodwork who just brought belts. And that's not a GCW thing. People going to WWE shows, bringing a championship belt. That's not a thing we do in AC. And you could tell who wasn't, I don't want to. This sounds really shitty and really clicky of me to say, but who weren't regulars?
Do they have like a signing at the mall or at the retail complex?
So they said the Fan Fest. Best way to describe it is that hour of doors before the show actually starts was pushed back 3 hours. And that's essentially it was. It was.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
all those people wearing belts were probably from there.
It was a lot of people who were just vending. There was a couple of vendors who show up at GCW regular. There was a couple just other people, Kurt and Mick were doing signings, but it wasn't a fan fest where there was other stuff going on. It was just the vendor tables that are always there before the show starts. So I mean, take that as you will.
Cool.
So there's a huge screens. Oh, go ahead, bud.
No, real fast. I didn't know you had still more notes on the opening. Go ahead. I had opening notes too. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. There's a huge screen sitting on the stage, and it takes up the whole width of the stage. 2 TVs flanking on each side.
I believe that TV stage is part of the building. I think that's from the building. I don't think that was
I thought I saw it look like a stage and like 2 TV boxes, but it could be in the side TVs maybe.
There was the standard GCW Minitrons were on flanking the LED stage.
I got excited too, John. I'm like, man, if we could just get 2 screens anywhere and put them together, making that background every show, I'm in. That was cool.
I was so ready to call it the Jimbotron. I was so ready for that. It would have just stuck, I felt. The acoustics made everything sound way better. The reverb.
There is a Chad is here. I think he can confirm or not if the LED stage was from the building. Yeah.
Our own LED screen is still not. You know, Ash.
Gotta work on it, man. That's the next goal for 2025.
There we go. You can always ask Santa for Christmas. You never know. Maybe he's listening.
Get that Triller money.
Good boy. Exactly. Got that Triller cash. The acoustics made, like I said, everything sound way better. The reverb made the crowd sound bigger. Music was bouncing around the venue. Everyone's entrance was audible on TV, as it should be. I love hearing that entrance music a lot. The ring was all decked out in black, the only color being the white GCW logo on the mat, aprons, and pads in the corners. I felt it looked great. What were your guys' thoughts on that GCW ring?
I loved it. I've been asking for that ring forever. I love the black, all black ring, and then the black and white logo in the middle was perfect. I wrote that. Like, I absolutely loved the opening video, but the mat was the fantastic call for me.
Black mat was a great touch, especially with it being, you know, a family friendly crowd that they don't want to really show the hardcore side of GCW.
Right.
I think that was a perfect touch.
Didn't even think about that.
I think the black mat would be a great look regularly, and then just bring out the natural canvas for the blood shows, specifically to highlight the blood. I think that would be a great way to going forward. It's such a more clean, you know, new haircut, iron shirt kind of GCW that I appreciated. Having that black mat roll into the black skirts looks so much better than how we usually do with, you know, a tan canvas and, you know, duct taped ring skirts. It just looked better. And I think that, like I said, you know, if you want to bring back the natural canvas for TOS, so you could see the evidence, and, you know, and see the results of your labor on the mat, good. But not. I don't think for every show. I think the black should become the standard, and the canvas should just be the backup.
One specific NGI mat, one specific TOS mat. You just roll them out every year. Like, you could smell the history. Ugh.
Just leave them like sacred artifacts in the tabernacle, and every June you just rip out the TOS mat.
At that rate, they'd be so stiff they'd probably walk out on their own.
Oh God.
I also like the gym mats on the ground for safety purposes alone. I feel like the name of the game is really self-preservation. I think with all the interviews that we've had over the years here, self-preservation really is what it's all about. Hard cam was on the second story of the building, I believe, to catch the crowd size. They did a good job on that. They did catch quite a bit of the sheer size of that venue. Quite a few listeners mentioned the angle of the hard cam they felt was just a touch too high. I do get where they're coming from. However, I'm a fan of the LA shot, you know, a couple feet above the crowd, perfect view, flush with the ring, makes it look like they're performing just for you. Cameras on the floor did an awesome job all night. Anyone have thoughts on the camera work or production for this show?
Like, I can't fault the hard cam being in the spot it was, specifically with, you know, there's not that much. Just the shape of the room, there's not that much room between the seventh row on hard cam. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was what I thought before. There's just not that much room to have a hard cam and have, you know, normie walking space around the mall behind the little enclosure for the ring. That's just a limitation of the building, having the hard cam up on the second floor. But the second floor being there, it just made those zoom up 4K close-ups from, you know, underneath the bottom rope look so much more different. It created that dichotomy so much. It was so much bigger that on Saturday because the hard cam was up in the heavens and those ring sides were right there. You could count beads of sweat on people's foreheads. it created such a different look than what we usually have, where those ringside cams aren't nearly as different from the hard cam.
And I think the challenges that they had compared to normal challenges, as you said, the differences and the cool things we saw, I think they did an excellent job. Like that's got to be one of the most challenging shows they've done. Work putting that show together in the mall, production wise and camera wise, and I think they killed it. Everything looked really cool. And like Marcus Mathers kind of being the first one coming out and like doing the look up, like that was like a cool visual to like open up like any video for GCW. Like that was awesome.
So I wrote down here, look at this place, like we haven't discussed it already, but the American Dream Retail and Entertainment Complex in Eastern Rutherford, New Jersey is bright, it's beautiful, it's unique, somewhat Christmassy, and it's memorable. I felt like GCW went out of its way to find this special venue, and I'm really looking forward to when they do come back here. I'm just going to move ahead. I was going to ask your thoughts on the venue. We covered that extensively already. I know GCW.
I have a couple more notes on the building itself after you.
Sure.
After your thoughts, so go ahead.
I'm going to let you go first only because my next idea is to talk about a holiday show for GCW. Okay. So I don't want to step over you.
The building itself, it's I believe it's owned by the same company that owns the Mall of America and the West Ed in Canada. The West Edmonton Mall. So it is, they have the history of building these big, grandiose malls. The mall itself is massive. You couldn't even tell, but the one area of the mall where the show was, on the low end, I think it's less than 5% of the actual surface area of the mall. The building was huge. If you walk down a normal mall and you say end to end, you'll probably have 2 or 3 little side hallways. There must have been 4 or 5 between the ring and where I parked, and I didn't even get to the other end of the mall. It was huge, and it's in the parking lot of the Meadowlands Stadium where the Giants and Jets play, MetLife, and it's literally surrounding the old Continental Airlines Arena where the Nets and the Devils used to play. It's literally, they're all within the same parking lot. So if
that's why I said I wondered how close it was when Jimmy said that, like across the parking lot.
If predictions come true and there's SummerSlam next year and there's a show the day of SummerSlam, people will be in the mall for GCW's before SummerSlam. They will take a specific walkway across the highway and land, and there's like a skyway that lands 100 feet in front of MetLife Stadium. They will park at the mall, walk to SummerSlam, and then walk back to the mall to get to their car. That's how close the two venues are.
Also, we have Clown 13420 here saying, yeah, the 555 group owns all 3 of those malls. Yep. And then Chad Min says 3 million square. Oh my goodness. Could you imagine how many air conditioning units at much? Oh, dude.
The building itself was so big. I get that special kind of vertigo being in large enclosed spaces. And this room kind of triggered that in me. It was just such a large enclosed space. It's dizzying how tall this one area was. And like, it's a 3-floor mall, but when you look up, the ceiling's probably 5-6 stories off the floor.
Nashville just said too, it'll probably be cheaper to park at MetLife.
The mall is overflow park. The mall is overflow parking for MetLife.
Okay. Gotcha.
Like, I happened to be driving down that way. I think I was at a show in Ridgefield Park up in the Mecca one night, and I happened to cut through the highway that splits MetLife and the mall, and it happened to be the Taylor Swift night. And there were people hanging out the parking garage at the mall, just listening to the concert over the highway at the football stadium. I could still hear it. I rolled down my windows and I heard Love Story. That's how loud that place is.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I know JCW's hosted a few holiday shows. I know GCW's also had their hand in a couple here. I'm really hoping they produce another holiday episode, lights and everything. I know we'd love an appearance by Santa Claus, and I think our last Santa was Big Vin.
Yes.
Now that you've been to this American Dream Retail Entertainment Complex, and you've seen that there probably was some holiday decorations and whatnot out, could you see GCW running, a nice heavy holiday type?
Not this year, obviously.
Yeah.
But if they actually advertised it and like themed it and like made all the posters like like a Mall Madness or like a tribute to like a Jingle All the Way or something like that, I could totally see it. You know, just have a like a hardcore street fight in the mall. Perfect. The one thing you might have noticed if people on Twitter were these ATV stuffed animal type things, and I was totally expecting Broski Jimmy to ride up to the ring on this stuffed animal panda ATV, but what can you say?
Another missed moment.
I know.
Emma welcomes us to the show, said he's excited because we have a very special guest with us here. Kurt Angle. He walks out to huge cheers, the large screen with the red, white, and blue Dream On theme added to Kurt's entrance, who's known for wearing red, white, and blue. It looked very American. Kurt takes the mic, welcomes us to GCW's Dream On. He thanks everyone for coming to his signing, coming to the show, says a few words, he's getting ready to leave the ring. That's when we hear music. It's Mick Foley. He came through the crowd, patented sweatpants, plaid 90s long sleeve shirt, and my favorite, he had a Christmas shirt that has tables, ladders, and chairs on it, and it said, "These are a few of my favorite things." His festive attire matches well against the Christmas backdrop of the mall. Foley recites a small excerpt from the famous Hard Time speech by Dusty Rhodes. He puts over Kurt Angle. Great job there. Music hits again, and out comes Blue Pain, and we are back to the indies, ladies and gentlemen. I was wondering if this was Blue Pain because initially it didn't look the same. Big Blue is being called a loser by Mick and said that he should play for the Giants. That got a lot of boos. Kurt grabs the mic and says Blue should go sit with the fans. Pain answers by slapping his chokehold around Kurt's neck. Foley then hits Blue and he stumbles. Foley pulls out Mr. Sacco and makes Blue Pain eat Mr. Sacco. Pain, I'm assuming, has never seen this spot as Foley tells him to go down and he falls face first instead of on his back so Foley can kind of finish selling it. Kurt Angle puts him in the angle lock and Pain taps out. Pain rolls out to the ring and escapes. Music hits and we got Foley and Angle in a GCW ring together.
Great one, confirming it. It is the true Blue Cane.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
It just didn't look like it there for a while. What were your guys' thoughts on this 10-15 minute opening here?
Kurt and Mick, great. Get the signees to come in and do a promo, put them over. The Blue Cane segment was out of left fucking field, and I did not give a shit about it. It was like if you needed someone to just be the baddie and let the two war heroes come in and get their big conquering moment. There are so many other people who are just in the building that day. You don't need to fly Blue Cane in. Like, I don't think he was doing a show.
Broski Jimmy could have been that spot. If Charles Mason went around, like any shit face heel. You know what I mean? Blake Christian comes out. Get the fuck out of my ring. Boom. Gets hit once.
Not right now. But I get what you're saying. Not Blake.
I'm just saying.
I don't think
put a heel in there. Everybody loves to hate.
Like, I was at like 2 other shows this weekend, and I don't think Blue Pain was booked on any of them, was he? Like, they did not fly Blue Pain out specifically for this show.
Attitude Era joke. I get that. I get it now. If it was an Attitude Era joke, okay.
It was an Attitude Era joke. It could have been like a
put Big Min in there. Put Big Min in a costume.
It could have been a joke. It could have been a joke against like Mick Foley and Red Cane, like Glenn Jacobs politics going on. But like that kind of shit goes over people's head. Yeah, and it's like it doesn't do anything. It was very, very indie. Like,
that's why I put in my notes, I go, and here comes the independence, because you just kind of feel this is where we were at one stage, then we went to another. And the other thing, it could have very well, I'm a fan of Green, bro. It's one of those things. But to fly him across the ocean for that kind of a spot felt like a lot of money.
And I could be wrong, and he could have been booked. He could have been booked on some indie that, like, the weekend of Full Gear, but I don't think he was on anything else.
Yeah, it's just if you have someone coming out like that, you're going, okay, we were here,
and I was with enough smart people about the kind of shows that are in Jersey that someone would be able to say, oh yeah, he was at this show on X night, but nobody had any godly idea why he was there.
Yeah, I would have done like someone else, like a lower, like Tony Deppen even, but if you weren't using, like, he was already in the match, but like I would have picked something like that. But I thought it was a cool way to start the show. I was actually kind of shocked to hear the Kurt
Hard
Angle
Times-
music to start
A
off.
Hard Times joke went over really well. Everybody loves Hard Times, but
That was good. Yeah, I liked it too. I thought it was good though. I was surprised to see like they both look good. Kurt Angle looked really good. Foley looked good, and then the Mr. Sacco popped me. So whoever was going to take the Sacco, I guess it doesn't matter. But yeah, I wouldn't have done Blue Pain.
Oh, poor Fire J. He said, I need some more respect. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Just this appearance was a little out of the blue.
it was so.
That's all.
It
That's
was
all.
so apropos of nothing that he was there. That's why we're so. That's why we're so blasé about it. You know, if he
But
had
we
a
don't,
match,
we don't hate him. I don't dislike anyone ever.
It was just so out of nowhere that he was there, and he was there only to get trampled by Mick Foley, and like, you know.
Yeah, Ivan's laughing at us now. You know what? We should probably. You were talking about Tony Deppen. You want to slip into our first match of the night here?
Yeah. Our first match of the evening was Tony Deppen versus Marcus Mathers.
Our newly WWE ID tagged Marcus Mathers comes out first. People love him. It's just undeniable. Tony's wearing a frayed shirt with his company logo on it, his standard wear. It matches the era of his entrance music, Jefferson Starships, We Built This City. It plays throughout the building, and as usual, people pick up the lyrics as the song volume drops. I really wish I was there to hear that live. The bell rings, and both are looking around at the sheer size of the building and the crowd. This is what Frank was just talking about, where you can kind of see him looking at around the 7 o'clock and several of the other second and third balconies there. Just the sheer size of the place. You know, they were really playing it up and looking around at it. It was impressive. The bell rings and both are looking around, blah, blah, blah. Just said that. So sorry. This is, like I said, one of those nights. Very quickly, we found out this will be a tit for tat wrestling match between both technicians. Overall, I put here it was a smooth wrestling match. Our winner was Tony Deppen with his first win since January 24th of this year. I'm just going to say, regardless, I would have put over the young star with the WWE ID tag here, just because that's somebody that I think will be the future forward, and would have given him a little bit of a nudge going into the Hammerstein show.
And even just as just another feather in his WWE cap, you know, the first wrestler to win a match at a, you know, in the American Dream 5 feet away from where WrestleMania has already been held, you know.
I wasn't even thinking about that. I didn't mind Tony winning. I wanted Tony to win. As John said, it kind of feels like a long time since we saw Tony win.
The reason you don't realize that building's already held at WrestleMania is because they never mention the word New Jersey ever when they talk about that. It was always in the shadow of New York City.
I didn't even put two and two together though. Like, yeah,
I think it was
Jersey,
30,
WWE.
32 or 31. I forget exactly which Mania was in MetLife already, but one of those two.
So I wrote here that the
opening.
You and I are on the same like wavelength tonight. Go ahead, man.
I didn't have quick. It was a fun opening match that the crowd got into real fast, and a nice way to start the show in ring wise. And I enjoyed them, as we were kind of talking about, mentioning Marcus's WWE ID. I thought that was like, after that and having being the first entrance in that cool venue, I thought that was a cool moment for him. And I didn't mind him taking the L because I like Tony Deppen a little bit more, but I get what you guys are saying now.
And personal preference, I put in here that it was a little odd choice just having the bad guy winning in the opening match. It kind of brings the temperature of the crowd down just a touch, especially if you have a newer crowd that's not used to GCW, so they're not really privy to who Tony Deppen is and how he is kind of a lovable heel here. I put that it was a little bit like waiting for the opening kick of the Super Bowl. You have all the anticipation, the excitement, the hype, the music, and then it's time for the kick and it gets kicked out of bounds for a touchback. So I felt like I'm again, this is just personal opinion. I'm a big fan of hitting them hard, right in the face, fast, the way it should be, scramble or anything with a 4+ man hungry wrestlers flying around the ring. That's where I probably would have done this. But again, I don't own a company. So it's just more of what I wanted to see here would be around that kind of way. Anything you guys have to say about that?
The one thing I do have to say about this match is that there's going to be something that's going to be on almost all of these matches. And we have to go ask Conky for what today's secret word of the day is going to be. And I believe it's going to be cutter. So whenever you hear us say cutter, everybody scream. There was so many goddamn diamond cutters on this show, including this match. There was just so many flying nothings into diamond cutters that every match had at least 2 or 3 of them. I don't know what it was about tonight specifically, but a couple of people that I was sitting with noticed it.
I didn't notice it. Now I gotta
if
go
you go
back and watch
watch,
it.
like,
I'm gonna count it. I'm gonna do a cutter count.
Yeah, every time you see one, Drake, and yeah. It was just that one thing we picked up on.
So in the heel face dynamic that I was talking about earlier, to negate that, all you guys had to do was shake hands in the beginning of the match. Then you have a face versus face match where the fans had the illusion the good guy was going to win. That's all that had to be done there. And then instead of boos and bringing the temperature down, you could have had cheering because, again, you gave them the illusion that it was good guy versus good guy here. For potential excitement reasons, we're going to talk a little further later, but I would have flipped match 1 and 2 and had the Garbage Daddies and Los Desperados kick off the show and then brought it back down in match number 2 with the Real Wrestling, kind of the classic card. But again, this isn't my company. This is me trying to play with somebody else's toys. Just telling you what I kind of saw in this. But if I saw everything I always wanted, I think I'd be seeing the same shit every week. So it's nice to have that variety too, just to be fair. All right. Nobody else has anything to say on that one, huh?
Sorry. I blinked and then I zoomed out. I think that even if you didn't have the heel work, I think Tony on his exit was like wiping his dirty ring shirt on everybody's faces on his exit. It was like the perfect explanation of what kind of a douchebag Tony Deppen's character is on the way out. Because he was just waving his dainty little sweaty cut up ring shirt all over people's faces.
I was glad he was able to still do his little shtick there. All right. Our second matchup was the Garbage Daddies versus Los Desperados.
Everybody loves both teams, and both teams put in extra work to pump up the crowd before and during the match, just bringing them up from that first match low a little bit. And because of this, the fans stayed engaged. The athleticism and excitement levels were also jacked way up. There were no slouches. I felt like bodies were just flying everywhere. I always like when the tag rules stay in place. It makes for a much better match in my eyes. I could spend 20 minutes on why, but I just want to say they did it here. It looked great. Whoever was on the ringside cam that caught Alec Price's dive did a fantastic job. I'll stop there. Our winners were Garbage Daddies. What do you guys think?
I thought it was a good match. It was exciting. I kind of wish they had a little bit more space and more time to do a little bit more stuff. But I think it was like, as you were saying, like that would have been a good first match to show the uniqueness of you're getting a totally different wrestling show. I think the first match was more classical. This one showcased what GCW wrestling was. So I enjoyed it. Like I said, I just want more from all 4 of them because I know this was a match me and you both enjoyed. Desperados, big fan of mine. I'm a big fan of theirs, and you got the Garbage Daddies on your side.
I know. I was talking to you, John, after I left the building that night about how the show went and this and that and the third thing, and you said to me that 1 and 2 should have been flipped, and I didn't believe you at first, but I watched it back and I was like, oh no, it's a Tony and Marcus match. I mean, how can you not go wrong with the Tony and Marcus match? With that thought in my head, I rewatched it, and I think I agree with you more that just the pure off the wall lucha that was that Garbage Daddies and Desperados match would have been a better opener to show that this isn't your grandma's church basement wrestling league. Oh, that this is something else. And I'm not shitting on Tony and Marcus, but that was that's your standard middle of the card, indie wrestling match that they had. It was done perfectly because it's a Marcus and Tony match, but having, Garbage Daddies go off and the entire room was screaming Alec Price's "One More Time" line. And having that
was loud.
If you had that in the first match, you would have all those regulars who had no idea what that is. And you say, oh, all of these people know this guy's chants and this guy's slogans already. That opens their eyes in a different direction than your standard indie wrestling match in an awkward public location would be.
Yep, I agree.
I say awkward, but you know what I mean. So
I guess this
was a good match.
Yeah, I already said that. All right, our third matchup was Sydney Air Hakeem going against Speedball Mike Bailey.
Same thing. Super jealous of the live crowd. They got to see both Hakeem and Mike Bailey's entrance. The bell rings here. Both have words with each other. Commentary made a good point. I would have loved to hear what they had to say to each other, but I don't think they were speaking loud enough. A quick pre-match exchange back and forth online between these two would have really cranked up the importance of this match. Given their level of talent, I feel that they deserved a story here. Very athletic back and forth. I put our winner here as Sydney Hakeem with that fantastic finisher, the final act. What are your thoughts?
I don't think they stressed the stressed Sydney's perfect streak going into this match as much as they should have. Because
I do know it was mentioned in the beginning. I don't know past that.
But yeah, they mentioned it in passing, but that should have been every other word said about this match should have been who's gonna break the streak, who's gonna break the streak. Speedball had the best shot to break the streak. And that should have been the angle that they were promoting this match with, and they just didn't.
These little oversights, though, make a difference. Like if anybody's listening, the shaking hands between Deppen and Marcus, that's such a small little thing that would have changed the whole trajectory of how that match would have been looked at. Here we are again talking about the next match, and just one little adjustment can really make one hell of a difference. And here we are again where, again, ZMZO right there said they worked their asses off. Yeah, they really should have gotten together and said, look, I'm going to talk some shit on a little clip, and then I'm going to shoot it to you. You talk some shit. Yep, see, Brance. Because
you're right. Say, yeah.
He is one of the greatest threats to that undefeated streak, and it really should have been built up just a little. Just a little.
Like, even in Speedball's little stream, sit there and cut it. It's like, oh yeah, he's 12-0 until he gets to me. Does he not know who? As Frank was saying, like, that's a giant name in GCW. I thought if this was the match to lose, if he was to lose the match, this was going to be the first match he loses against Speedball, and then it wouldn't even be bad because it's fucking Speedball. But I think he would look at it as like, oh, I need to get to Speedball's level, and then hey, over these next couple months, put him in these matches to kind of test himself, gain the confidence, show his improvement, and then maybe run some. Well, now that we know what the thing is at Hammerstein, I was going to say before the Hammerstein, like maybe lead it up to Hammerstein.
Him cutting that promo and saying I'm 13-0 and I want to call my shot. That's the first time I could be wrong, but I think that's one of the biggest times we've heard about the streak since he's been about 7-0, I think.
Yeah, so I think it's an Ali match.
So I wanted to write here that if I could have picked a singles opening match, it would have been this one. I know it's really high profile, super high profile for an opening match. However, if anybody was a newbie that had a chance to see it, they would have seen some of the best singles wrestling that we have.
That's kind of the Jersey MO. Is you don't put the semi-main in the semi-main slot. You put the semi-main as the curtain jerker, and then you just have that crowd is nuclear the entire night because you open up. A couple of years ago, they had it was wasn't I might be wrong. But it was Deathmatch Royalty versus Maki Death Kill was the opener at Homecoming.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's the kind of semi-main as the opener that makes a ton of sense, especially in a crowd like this where it's your regulars and your faithful are outnumbered.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, sometimes also, I was going to touch on this one earlier, but it's really hard to play to a heel storyline in front of a crowd where 60+% of it may be brand new and all they see is an asshole winning. So they don't see anything other than that. Yeah, we'll go into that. So Sydney has the mic, talked about getting released, said he found his home at GCW. He was given some of the best matches in his career at GCW. Said he's 13-0. No one has figured him out yet. He puts over Hammerstein, says he wants the best of the best in New York at the Hammerstein. A graphic hits the screen. We're getting Sydney Hakeem versus Vikingo for the People versus GCW in New York City. I loved listening to the crowd make audible gasping noises when you see them all turn to the screen one by one, and they go, oh shit, this is what's going on. In the end, Sydney says he will be the only one sitting on the throne. What do you guys have to say about this one?
I obviously popped, yeah. If I can go back in GCW against Hakeem, that was all for me. I popped.
Yeah, it was such a good reveal, and then we were realizing that this was how we were gonna have these pieces of Hammerstein be revealed to us today. It was it was a great way to sell the Hammerstein card, especially in what is essentially for lack of a better term, it's a free show for GCW because there was a ton of looky-loos. So like we saw one of my thoughts going into this show was what if Hammerstein is going to play out today at the mall. So this was the first piece to fall into place was Vikingo versus Sidney Hakeem, and I thought that's going to be that could be match of the night right there. Without seeing any other match even announced, Vikingo versus Sidney could be match of the night at Hammerstein.
I mean, we might talk about this later, another episode, but yeah, I think Hammerstein is going to be turning out some good ones. As you said, this was like kind of the first piece to fall. I kind of wrote a note later. I want to mention it now just in case I can't get to it later, but I think this whole card, every match, having people come out and cut promos, even for that short amount of time, added so much more importance to their next matches, to the Hammerstein matches, where this is something we've been asking for. Like, I want to see this move forward. Everyone came out, cut a quick promo, and I loved hearing all the different voices. As you said, this was the first time I heard a lot of people talking promos other than a quick, like, oh yeah, I'll see you, blah, blah, blah. It like made sense. Like the Garbage Daddies ones I loved. This one, I was hearing Sidney Hakeem call him out. Like, I want to see more of these quick little promos, even if they're short, sweet, simple. It adds a little bit value and gets me excited for it at least.
The only devil's advocate, the only downside that we have for having as many Hammerstein matches announced today, I keep saying today, but at American Dream, is that it kind of creates lame duck angles for all these people that are already tied up in Hammerstein matches.
Sorry, we got called a quick little timeout. Sorry, Frank. I didn't want to cut you off.
Oh no, it's fine.
Brett in the chat here. Brett, let me get you in here real fast.
Brett's gonna kill us.
Let me fix this.
We've been so harsh tonight so far on our critiques.
That's okay. Is that Pompadour guy?
Yes,
What's going on, Brett?
Our East Coast correspondent, Brett.
Oh, great. Hello, Pompadour and everybody else.
Hello, Brett. How are you doing tonight?
How are you doing, Brett?
I'm good. What's going on, guys? Anything interesting going on?
Slow news day. That's been the problem so far. It's just been slow. So we were going through our review of Dream On, and we got up to the point here where we were going to get past the Sydney match and go into what happened here with Broski Jimmy and then into Ricky Starks.
My God, what's the timing? I didn't even realize the timing.
Oh God, the timing.
I didn't even see the timing.
Oh, come on now. You think he was going to come in on the Deppen match? So Broski Jimmy comes out to the ring. He's about to speak. Ricky Starks' music hits. Ricky Starks is coming down the escalator while holding a Louis Vuitton bag. He's just staring down as the music plays. He knows he nailed the entrance. I wanted to say here that we had first seen Ricky on January 18th of 2020 on GCW's Take a Picture versus Nate Webb. He goes out to the ring. He cuts a promo. I didn't put everything in here on the promo, but he basically said he's being frozen out of his contract and how he's climbing at the walls to get back to wrestling. He's literally taking huge steps around the ring while he's talking. I'm seeing this here. He's making a statement that means something to him. He was stirring emotion in that ring. This is where I put mic work matters. He hits Jimmy one last time and bounces out of that ring. I'd say Ricky had about a 15% comedy to him and 85% seriousness. Felt he struck a good balance there. And I'll just stop right there for a minute because I think the situation from where we had Dream On and now has changed. And Brett, do you want to talk about that at all?
Well, what do you mean? Ask me. Why don't you ask me a question and then maybe I can answer.
Absolutely. Okay. So what we had seen tonight was that it looks like we won't be having Ricky with us on this show. It looks like circumstances had changed recently. I'm so sorry. I'm kind of at a block to where we go here, but Brant, I see your mind kicking a little bit. Is there a way for you to maybe ask a question here in regards to this better?
I was just going to ask, what was the getting Ricky to show up in one of his first big scenes outside of AEW? How did that go coming up? How was that coming about going into this show and obviously heading into Hammerstein?
Well, Ricky Starks has worked for GCW before, so he's no stranger. We know him, and we had a little bit of a relationship. And he's also pretty tight friends with a few of the people in our locker room. So, we've always kind of, been connected. When this American Dream came up, Ricky Starks is, he's been going through what he's been going through, and I guess kind of trying to make some moves on his own and generate some buzz and get out there and wrestle. He like many others reached out to us and asked if we'd be interested. And of course, we'd love to have a guy like Ricky Starks, who we know how talented he is. We know how popular he is. And, he's a great fit for so many of the people in our locker room. So of course, there's mutual interest, and I'm not sure there could have been a better date or location than American Dream for him to return to GCW. And I thought that segment went off great. Regardless, if you, regardless, I guess, which side of the fence you're on, his promo and his appearance could have easily could have easily led to good business in many different directions. So, I think it was a big opportunity and a big opportunity seized. And up until I guess a couple hours ago, it looked like we were on the right track, all of us.
So, what's interesting here is that it seems like the companies by the fans are being blamed more than it's just between a private contractor and a single person. And people say, well, Effie on this side, that's GCW. They say over here, this is AEW, and then we're supposed to fight. And it seems like a misconception, because it seems more like a performer wanted to work there, and the person who owns a contract under him says, you know what, not right now. Now is not the time for that. Obviously, he was scratching at the walls to try to just work. And I think that's fair, that any person who feels like they want to go out and earn some money and put in the effort, deservedly so. I also believe this is something that has happened all the times in wrestling since the very first days. It's just the internet has exposed what's going on in the business a little more than before, because again, wrestlers are a little chattier now than they were 50 years ago. So I don't know what about a question here. I just wanted to kind of throw that out front and see what you have to say about anything more about that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird situation because I don't know. Ricky Starks is like an independent contractor, but this is a whole wrestling conversation that's one of these days. This is going to be tested, and something's going to happen because theoretically an independent contractor is independent and they can go and work wherever they want. But in wrestling, these independent contractors don't seem to be very independent. They're at the whim of an employer, which sure makes it seem like they're an employee. So, I don't know. It's, it's above our pay grade. I'm just an indie wrestling company and I don't have people under contract. And, these guys reach out to me, and I like working with talented people, and I don't really get into their contract situation. If they make it to the point where they can appear on my show, then, I'm to assume that, everything is cleared. People don't traditionally breach contracts on this level of wrestling. So, I don't know what else to say about that.
Let's
I've
go.
had one possible question. That have we heard how that affects, as you were saying, like where, like if it's at Ricky, where does it start or end? Have we heard anything of any other possible
Well,
AEW people being affected
well, just
for
to be
home?
clear, and I found out about this, the same time as everybody else did for the most part. Again, and I think I've stated this many times before. It's no secret. I mean, I don't really have a line of communication with AEW. I've never talked to Tony Khan on the phone or via text in my entire life. They don't talk to me, and I'm not saying that I'm not trying to say that necessarily in a negative context, but I guess we've never really had to talk. Anybody who from AEW who's worked with us, it's just been between me and the talent to arrange it. And, if they need to get permission or something, they handle that on their own. So, in terms of this with Ricky Starks or with anybody else from AEW, I don't really know a lot. I haven't heard about anybody else, and again, I'm just hearing, that Ricky has been pulled, and period. There's been AEW, I haven't been on the phone with AEW where they've given me an explanation or, asked me any questions or anything. I have no communication with AEW over this. So yeah, I don't know what applies to Ricky Starks. I mean, I don't know where it goes beyond Ricky Starks. But of course, Sunday was Bloodsport in Jersey City, and John Moxley was there. Marina was there. And some others, many others actually were there, both on and off camera. So I'm not sure what the deal is. Of course, I've heard things. I've heard things in many different directions, but again, without me hearing it directly from AEW, it's hard to tell what's real and what's not, and what's just people speculating or making shit up in many cases. Because, if we were to go by internet reports about AEW GCW relationship over the last few years, I mean, every quote unquote report that's ever come out there has always been wrong. So, it just seems like, I don't know. It seems like the rules or the guidelines don't necessarily even exist. It's just kind of a show by show, person by person deal or arrangement.
So sadly, you're just on the receiving end. And it seemed like Ricky kind of also lost some opportunities there, and we don't know more than that, which is sad. Very sad.
No, of course. I mean, we're absolutely on the receiving end. I don't know. I mean, I've always considered GCW and AEW to be on the same team. So, yeah, I don't know if is this meant to punish Ricky Starks? Is it meant to punish GCW? Is it somewhere in between? I don't know. I just don't know, because again, I just don't have that line of communication. So, I mean, it certainly does not, it's doesn't feel great. I would love to know, if there's something that, we should have done or something we should be doing or whatever. But, we got to the point where this stuff was agreed upon and announced, and fans were looking forward to this. So whenever that happens, to promote something and then have to pull it back is not ideal. But also at the same time, and I've said this many times before, when you do book television talent or contracted talent, you do that with the understanding that this could happen at any time, for any reason. So, it sucks, but it's part of the deal,
You're muted.
You're muted, John.
And it won't be the first time that someone will have to leave a GCW card to take another booking. It seems like as a whole, you've been very cooperative to the best of your abilities with, you know, if somebody has to go to ROH for a night or someone has to go here. I felt like you've been fairly malleable about all that. So it really
Of
does
course.
stink to be on the receiving end sometimes.
Yeah. No, of course. I mean, again, this isn't the this wasn't the most exciting day in the GCW office, so it is what it is.
Well, I will say this much, though, in your situation now, the good news is you'll be able to promise that there will be other people there instead of Ricky, unfortunately. And just tonight, in the last couple hours, you released the names of Maki Ito coming to the Hammerstein, Super Crazy, Tajiri, and Masato Tanaka. So we have a lot of ECW originals coming back to the Hammerstein for this show.
Yeah, and these were people that have actually been lined up for a little bit of time, but it just felt like, listen, what are we waiting for at this point? If our, I mean, we obviously had plans to unveil a lot of this, but it's just like, if we have to, find out that one of the big names isn't coming, let's just put some of these out there and give people something to be excited about, and let's just get this thing moving.
So there's a lot of people in chat here on the side. They're saying mention Effie. So Sean Ross Sapp was reporting, and I think that's where a lot of this came from, that it seemed like one or two, both of the cons were upset with Effie's statements. And I went back and listened, and it didn't seem like there was anything out of the ordinary past a single person giving an opinion. And so there are people asking about that. Is there anything in there you would like to speak about, or do you want maybe Effie to speak about it next week when he comes on?
Yeah, I mean, I did see the report, the Sean Ross Sapp report, where it mentioned Effie or Effie podcast, and yeah, I mean, it was mostly news to me because I don't, and sorry, Effie, I don't get to regularly tune into Effie's podcast, so I wasn't really aware of anything, anything that would be considered too controversial that he would have said. And I've only heard snippets now since I read that, and I mean, what Effie says is Effie's opinion, and Effie is an independent wrestler. He's an independent contractor. He says this stuff on his own personal podcast, which is not endorsed or promoted or amplified or platformed by GCW. He's his own guy. He doesn't come to me and say, hey, on this podcast tonight, I'm going to talk about this, this, and this. Is that okay with you? I don't review what he does. I have no control over Effie. He is absolutely independent, 100% through and through. He doesn't ask me, and he doesn't have to ask me. He's just a passionate person with opinions, and he feels, very strongly about GCW, and he is a GCW soldier, and sometimes he lets his emotions kind of get the better of him, and I don't think that Effie I don't think Effie wishes I don't know. I think Effie's just a passionate guy, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really have too much of an opinion on what he said. And I guess if you take it out of context, somebody might say, oh, well, I guess if I guess people could have different opinions on what he's saying. I'll put it like that. But also, he's just one guy, like I mean, there's lots of people out there who have a lot stronger opinions than that in the wrestling business, on AEW, GCW, everything in between. So, I mean, that's kind of what this whole business is about. Everybody has their own opinion on everything, and that's what these podcasts are for. And this is just the way it works.
And sound bites can really be crazy. I always tell people, if someone followed me with a camera all day and I accidentally stub my toe and I start cussing, that 5-second soundbite will be the only thing anyone will hear or see. And the rest of my wonderful day will be completely ignored because that's just not sensational.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Is there anything else anybody wants to ask in regards to that situation whatsoever? Because I don't know. I just feel like Effie needs to talk. I know he'll be here next week, and I'm sure that he's going to have time to collect his thoughts and put together what he has to say also. But yeah, it just feels like a single person says something and then it gets put into an entire company when it's just a single person stating their opinion. And in the independent scene, it just seems like it's a lot of us versus the world anyway. So you got to be a fighter on the independent scene.
That's true. And it does feel like that from time to time. Out here on the indies, we really are on our own. There's there is no security blanket. There's no, we're all, there's again, there's no contracts. We're all, anybody can be here today, gone tomorrow. And that's just the way it goes.
Matthew Barroso just came in here. He said, "And we will fight." I love it.
I just had a question. Did make a couple of Hammerstein announcements earlier. Was there anything maybe you could possibly break on our show, or expect anything coming up here soon for Hammerstein?
Well, the announcements earlier being the talent, I guess you're talking about.
Yes.
I'm trying to think if there's any other ones. Well, Ricky Morton and Little Guido were kind of already announced at American Dream, so those there's those two as well. There's also been 5 matches announced, I believe it is. Josh Barnett
Let
is
me check my notes. I have it here.
Yeah, Josh Barnett versus an opponent to be named at Bloodsport in a Bloodsport match at Hammerstein. There's the tag title match, Garbage Daddies taking on Violence is Forever for the tag titles. There is Sydney Hakeem versus Vikingo in a dream match. Absolutely in a dream match between two people who do things that aren't humanly possible. And what's the other one? There's one more, right? That was
The
announced.
6-pack
What?
UV belt ladder match.
Yes, that one. And I think there's 4 people have been announced for that.
Mm-hmm.
Was there one more?
Only 4 have been announced. 2 questionables. One, I think a couple fans may have an inkling who one of those 2 question marks may be at this time, but
Atticus. Most people
Yeah.
feel Atticus will be one of the 2 spots to fill in.
Well, what did he do to deserve a spot in it?
Brett, he's just a bad motherfucker. What can you say? I don't know. It's been a while. It's good to see him and his aura back at GCW, and whatever he brings into the ring, I think, is exciting. The classic deathmatch fans, their eyes are slowly coming back to GCW, especially when Atticus came back in. So, between him and Dr. Redacted, they're both red hot right now at GCW.
Well, Dr. Redacted's definitely popular.
Yes, he is.
There's also people who have been saying could be Mr. Danger. He's been doing some wild stuff even by GCW ultra violent standards. And
I agree.
He could definitely slot into one of those spots. And putting him on a ladder in the middle of Hammerstein would definitely put off a few flashbulbs if anything were to happen with him not being on that ladder anymore. So,
Mr. Danger definitely, he's definitely been pushing the limits lately.
Would I be out of line to assume that there could be a world heavyweight title match on this Hammerstein card, Brett?
You would not be out of line. I think we'll probably be getting some clarification or some clarity, I guess, on that department. I've heard a couple of rumors in the pipeline. I hate to speculate, but I've heard some rumblings between Mance Warner and Effie and and others, that have been going back and forth with the executive board of directors. So
I know the
I'm
booking
thinking
committee
that,
is off this week for the holiday, correct? So
well, yeah, I mean, they're never truly off, but we're doing working from home. So, but yeah, I've heard some speculation, and I don't like to speculate publicly, so I'll just let that play out. And I think maybe later this week we'll get some clarity on that situation.
All right, let's see if there's anything else in chat here. Do you guys see anything else that
How many
worth
people?
ask?
We
How
got
many people?
2,100 tonight.
There you
Holy
go.
shit!
Oh,
Shoot!
yeah. It's a beautiful
You said
night,
to
man.
promote it, so we tried to here.
All right.
Yeah, with a little promotion, the people definitely come out.
I might be out of pocket here with this question, but since he's not on the card no more, could we find out possibly Ricky Starks like for Seattle? What was the plans for there?
I don't want to reveal that yet. I think it's
Okay.
premature.
Okay.
Excellent. I like that. I like hearing that. That's good stuff right there. I know what that means. That means there's been some forethought here that's worth looking up in these next couple weeks. Patrick Scroggins asks, when is GCW coming back to Indianapolis?
Soon.
We'll leave it.
To the
Great
point.
fucking answer. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Someone said Josh Barnett versus Chad Gable. Book it, Brett. That'd be an insane.
Chad Gable is probably my number one dream wish list participant for Bloodsport. So I'm all in for that one. Barnett versus Chad Gable. I'm down to book it.
And we have another listener here. One of our favorites, Quirios and Milk from Scotland, gets up at 3, 4, 5 in the morning to listen to us. She asks, Brett, what are the chances of a Scottish show? I'd love to help out if it ever happens.
I think there's a chance. I don't know if I have an exact percentage number, but it's definitely like on that list of things we want to do at some point, and everything on that list is a sooner than later type goal. So it's certainly possible, and I mean, it's been discussed in the past. So I think it's just a matter of timing and when it lines up, and I think there's a chance that it will happen at some point.
Any cool stories from the mall, the retail and event center?
Retail and entertainment complex.
Entertainment complex. I apologize.
Any good stories? I'm trying to think if there's anything that was
like with the mall,
really,
like anything cool you guys saw, did something that you never seen
yeah,
before?
well, I didn't get to do anything that day, but I did several walkthroughs at American Dream, and I got to take my family to the Nickelodeon theme park, which was pretty cool. And I mean, I've been there several times. It's actually a really cool spot. It's definitely not just a mall. It's definitely more than a mall, or whatever you want to call it. So I want to go back soon. I'd like to go back, and I think GCW will be back there in 2025.
And I believe Emil did make mention of at least something happening at the mall in 2025. If I'm not
I think
mistaken.
that there's some obvious dates on the calendar that would be a good fit, and it's just a matter of it's I think we just have to work through a couple of things on the paperwork before we can discuss it.
On Twitter, I threw up a poll today that said, should GCW run a Dream On 2 at the American Dream? Out of almost 100 votes, it was 93.8% yes on going back. Just wanted to give you that too. So it's wildly popular.
Of course, it was fun. Fun events are fun. So I'm down.
See if there's anything else over here worth asking. Okay, yeah, that's worth mentioning. Chad Min said that the mall called it one of the best events of the year. Kudos to that.
Oh, definitely. I mean, from a corporate standpoint, it's definitely everything that they would that they wanted. It was highly attended. It drew engagement with our people, with so many different aspects of the and businesses in that mall. Everybody that comes there is going to eat somewhere, so all those eateries are getting business. Everybody's paying to park, even if it's just $5. That's does add up when you have 1,000 people there to see the wrestling. People are going shopping before the event. People even just going to Starbucks or the pretzel place or whatever. This is so much business that's being generated just by having us there, and it's a happening, and that's what they want. They want it. Again, it's more than a mall. They want it to be a place where events take place. So, this was about as good as it gets for them.
Yeah. How many months of rent did you pay for Starbucks on Saturday, Brett?
Well, I of course,
You might have partaken once or twice there. I
yes, of course. And every time I did a walkthrough, that was once or twice. So, I definitely, got my share of Starbucks during the course of planning and promoting this event.
Well, I guess they assumed that from the outside looking in, that the mall management had a good opinion of us, Marks and Chuds coming in for the wrestling show that one day. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, of course. And no, and props to all the Chuds for their best behavior.
Given the size of the center that you were in and the amount of traffic going around the area, did you get a lot of just walk up looky-loo type people, or were you able to equate any of that to some GA ticket sales?
I mean, there was definitely walk up or definitely passerby traffic stopping to watch a little bit at a time. And that's, again, we're totally cool with that. We want that and we like that. The best seats were the seats that you had to pay for. But, there's definitely little pockets here and there that, maybe not the best angle or not the most not an unobstructed view, but there's definitely plenty of places you could have walked past and gotten a shot of the action. And that's part of being in the mall. And it was cool. We were cool with that. And there was definitely a lot of them throughout the afternoon.
Blake Christian jumped in chat. How did that one song go? He asks. We talking about whips and chains, Blake? Blake loves coming in here and just fucking around. I'm guessing that's what he's going for here. Rose said the mall got 1K shopping out of me. Good job for doing your part there, Rose. MWN Network said more Jody Threat and Dynasty for 2025. Love seeing them appear for GCW.
The Jody Threat's really stepped it up. She's
yes.
I mean, she's a top-notch athlete, and she's got that fire under her right now. So, I'd definitely like to see Jody Threat, more of her when it works.
So we'll go ahead and break out what's in private now to the public. Scramby asks, can Brett define what a chud is?
A chud is I don't know. I guess a chud's just like a hardcore death match or a hardcore GCW fan. It's not a derogatory term. It is a term of endearment, and but it's definitely stereotypical. They have all the elements of the hardcore wrestling fan, which of course, most of us are that. So, we're stereotyping, but also endearing when we refer to the Chuds.
After this event at Dream On, does this open you up to more mall events or entertainment center events or just public events where people can kind of walk in and buy a ticket a little easier?
I think so. I mean, I've always been open to those types of events, but I think now this gives those those types of events and locations a reason to be open to us. Now we can show them, look what we can do in a space like this. So, I mean, I've had I have other places that I've had my eyes on, for years now, and maybe one that I may try to revisit next summer, when the time is right. But I don't know. It's just like just you can put a ring anywhere, and I love putting it in places that you don't normally see it. So we'll try to do.
The outside. I still love the idea of a beach or an outside venue, but you've been very clear before where the licensing and all the hoops you have to jump through are just so egregious that it's almost too difficult
Yeah,
to run.
I mean,
correct?
yeah, in the places where we're connected, yeah, it's so difficult. We're the thing with GCW again is like, GCW is big enough where we can't just pull up on a beach and put a ring up, like everything has to be done for real. So, yeah, like we can't just go set the ring up in Atlantic City on the beach, there's a whole process to that. So, but I mean, trust me, we've definitely explored it and we've gone down that road. It just was never a road, that we could cross.
Chad Min says GCW Day Cruise. I like it.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I really want to float the ring out in the water. Is what I want to do.
Yes, we have to. It's been a long time since one of those matches have went down.
Yeah.
Decades.
Yeah.
Who would you book in that match?
I don't know. That's a great question. I mean, you got to think Joey Janela would be involved in a match like that.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess it was. I guess let's get it. Let's set it up first, and then we can start thinking about that.
You're muted, Frank. Sorry.
I could see Joey walking into that match wearing water wings and just expecting just
floaties.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Mins is in rubber up to his fucking armpits, just trying to get the ring out to the middle of the water.
Baruso says Vin and I can already set that up. That's the can-do attitude we need out of the ring.
Like it.
Yeah. I just need the right body of water. That's all. Need to make sure that the ring's not going to float away. That's the hard part.
Well, okay, there's too many ideas there. Cowboy Scott.
We're too sober for this.
Cowboy Scott asked, did the mall care about the content of the matches, or were there any restrictions in any way?
I think it's one of those things where, there's an expectation, when you go in there, that's a family establishment. And, it's kind of like, like, of course, there wasn't gonna be any death matches or nudity or excessive language, but it's one of those things where, like, they don't come and tell you that, because if you make it that far, it's again, it's expected. I mean, trying to think of another way to. I mean, you don't get this far by not understanding that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
know your place.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, like we didn't need to be told. We're not going to push it. We don't need to. This event is great as it was, and we're not there at the American Dream to break light tubes and set things on fire. So we have other places to do that.
I can speak for some of the people who were up in that chanting section up on the second balcony that we were afraid to even do some of our normal chants just because of there are so many kids around. So even within like the fans, there was that expectation that we know this isn't going to be your standard, Atlantic City TOS style show, that there is this I don't want to say holding back, but there is this different expectation for this show than it would have been for any other GCW show.
Yeah, and I don't feel like I don't feel like GCW as a company is holding back. We're capable of doing shows of so many different styles, and there's just a time and a place for everything. And I think that's across the board. And I appreciate that the fans understand that too. That's the cool thing about GCW fans, or at least the ones that show up in person. I think everybody kind of understands the assignment, and I don't know, everything just seems to go smooth at the shows. Our fan we have the best fans in wrestling for sure. So
All right. Is there any other questions here, listeners? I'm looking and looking to see if there's anything else.
I got one question I just have to ask. Since Maki Ito, we see her returning at Hammerstein. Can we expect the Extreme Belts being with her this time or no?
I definitely would expect that it will be with her for sure.
Okay.
Defended, possibly?
I don't see why not.
Okay. Yeah. People are itchy on that Extreme title, so you always wonder. We're like, okay, is it going to get defended? Is it going to get defended? And we know how it's supposed to be not as high up as the UV belt, but I'm telling you, man, people just itch. I don't know what it is.
I know.
They just itch for death match. It's chud behavior, my friend.
Yeah.
I really like this question from fan David Glenn. Was Ciclope versus Miedo originally planned for Hammerstein?
Yes.
May I ask what possibly?
Well, Miedo ended up with a pretty bad injury, and he had to get surgery, and he's going to be out for like 6 months. So there's really no way around it at this time.
Is this related to where like his shoulder was popping out all the time?
Yeah, I believe so. I think it's just yes. This was not. It was not like a new injury that appeared. It was more like, yeah, I guess an old injury that just kept getting worse, and is now or never to get it taken care of.
Nickels and dimes adding up to $1 kind of stuff.
And totally Miedo by covering his brother and putting him over before he goes and gets surgery.
We have another fan question. This has been asked by a couple different ones. Can we still see new talents being brought into the death matches like Tommy Vendetta and Dr. Redacted earlier this year?
Can we see more? Is that the question?
I think more new talent, like how we saw more Vendetta and Dr. Redacted in GCW. I think they're asking, can we expect to see more new talent like those two?
Yeah, I think so. There's definitely like a constant cycle of in and out where you try to, have a balance of keeping the best people around, but also bringing in new names and faces. So I think you'll see, more Tommy Vendetta, more Dr. Redacted, and yeah, definitely some other new faces could appear at any time.
I'll just mention here, Quirios and Milk in our chat said, honestly, without GCW, I wouldn't have found the confidence to come out as a trans woman and live my life the way I was supposed to. Thank you for creating a safe space for everyone, Brett.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And yeah, GCW is definitely for everyone, and we're all on the same team here. So yeah, thank you for that.
Okay, Brett, don't kill me, but I've been waiting to ask this question for a couple of years. Now that Atticus is back, what are your thoughts on his return at the end of NGI 9?
Well, I was I think you probably could have picked a more gracious and a gracious way to reappear as opposed to fucking up Sawyer Rex moment, that's for sure. But also at the same time, I guess I wouldn't expect anything less from a guy like that. So I'm definitely anxious to see what else he has in mind. It's been years since we've seen him There's definitely unfinished business on all sides here. So I don't think he would be here if we weren't intent on finishing that business.
Him showing up in a not guilty branded orange jumpsuit was definitely a message that should be followed for watching this space for future development type, storytelling there.
Well, not guilty. I mean, that's his jumpsuit. He's what is he? His own judge and jury.
They do assume a lot at 440. You never know.
Yeah. So some would say he's guilty.
I wanted to go to Las Vegas for a second, Brett. I know you're still waiting on details for quite a few things, and it is 5 months out roughly here. The Pearl at the Palms is gorgeous. Great job on that. I was wondering, when it comes to this collective situation here, are most of the shows that are tied to the collective going to also be at the Palms?
Are most of the show everything? Wait, what?
So, like TJPW, will they also be at the Palms? You have
Yes,
to go through
everything will be at
Ticketmaster?
the at the Palms. Everything will be at the Pearl.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to know that because sometimes some shows may require smaller venues or whatnot, and I just didn't know.
No, everything's going down there.
Let's see. Was there anything else about Las Vegas anybody had questions on? Again, I know it's limited right now.
I think we're still too far out to actually have any,
I think that's fair.
decent questions for Vegas at this point. But
I think I got Hammerstein on my mind more than collective
Yeah.
right now.
I'll go to this one just because it's a popular question. Will GCW bring back Planet Death?
Ever? Yes, I'm sure we will at some point. I just don't know if it's going to be a good fit for Las Vegas. It's just a lot going on in Vegas, but it's definitely a contender. It'll definitely be back for sure.
With the fans, it's wildly popular, Brett. That show just is wildly popular. And I think
Yeah,
that's
I
why we had so many
understand.
questions.
I understand. Yep.
do you have any extrapolating on that? I guess, do we expect to see this? I said this before. The standard level. I know we said the normal amount of death match that we normally see in other venues at Las Vegas. Will we see more death matches or less death matches? Anything from the venue saying you can't use this, you can't use that?
Again, this is one of those venues where they don't tell you that because they would never think to have to tell you that. They probably don't even know what a death match is, But it's definitely not the type of place where I would have tournament of survival.
Sure.
Now, with that being said, will there be any death matches in Las Vegas? Yeah, definitely. I would say there's going to be some. Is it going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10? Too early to tell. We're still pretty far out, but I could say that it's definitely not a no chance, not going to happen situation. I definitely would expect to see something.
Yeah, between LA and their deathmatch crowd, you have Phoenix and their deathmatch crowd, and Las Vegas hasn't seen a show in 2 years. It's a powder keg waiting to happen in April here. So a lot of us are really looking forward to what's coming that weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be loaded. I'm excited too. And it's just one of those times of the year where it's just all our best is on display.
We have a question here in the chat. Is there any more matches to be announced for Brooklyn on Friday?
There's going to be, I think, either 1 or 2 more matches announced.
Green Cane says something here I was going to echo later in the show. He said, I think you need to sign that dude from Georgia. Let me see if I have his name nearby. Did you have a chance to meet Mazmanashvili the guy from Georgia?
Well, I only got a chance to talk to him very briefly, but I was talking to Josh Barnett earlier tonight, and well, first of all, I found out that guy has a brother who apparently is possibly even bigger than he
Jesus
is.
Christ.
Yeah, but I was just
Black
telling
blood.
Josh, that I've obviously been around, hundreds, if not thousands, of real wrestlers, wrestler-sized wrestlers over the years. But Sunday, that guy was standing next to me on the stage at one point in the morning, and I got a chance to like see him up close, and he was definitely. It was definitely the first time in a long time where I looked at a guy and I was just like, what the fuck? Like, this is a big motherfucker. Like where it like wowed me. Like, damn, that's a big fucking dude. Yeah, that guy's just like, like thick and like, I mean, it just doesn't look normal, Like you can just tell this guy could probably kill you with one hand, blindfolded and whatever. He could probably just crush your skull with his hand. So
On
just a
him,
big
I
guy.
wrote instant star. If he went into pro
Yeah,
wrestling, instant star.
yeah, no, and I think we'll be seeing more of him soon. Of course, I was as pleasantly surprised as everybody else was, and I can see the potential the same as you can, and that everybody else sees it. And I would be surprised if we don't see him again very soon, outside of Bloodsport.
He's
That's
big
what I
enough.
was going to
He's big
ask.
enough that he'll turn any Haas fight into a Haas
That was my
versus
next
not a
question.
Haas fight. He is that big.
Yep, he is.
Yeah, that's an enforcer waiting to happen. Doesn't need to talk. Doesn't even need maybe much wrestling ability. He just needs to go out there,
I
know
mean,
how to
he
pick
may.
him up.
I think that's a low end estimate for that guy.
Oh yeah.
I think. I mean, I look at him and I see a guy with, Goldberg like potential, or Brock Lesnar type potential. I mean, he has an actual real wrestling background, and you saw it on display. He knows how to do all that shit. That's like, highly skilled and powerful type stuff.
We also have another question in chat. How is it booking WWE talent for the blood sports? And is there any chance that WWE will keep on having more talent on blood sport shows in the future?
We talked about it many times. Josh Barnett himself has a pretty good relationship with the WWE. Has a pretty good relationship with the people at the highest levels of the WWE. So, he's able to cut through a lot of the hurdles, obstacles. He can kind of get right to the source and, talk and make things happen where, other people, just it's just not as easy. So, that's how that happens. And are we going to see more? I think so. I have no reason to believe that we're not going to see more. So,
One
All
thing I
right.
was going to ask if we're going to see more of. Sorry, John, real fast. Pre-shows. I enjoyed the pre-show.
pre-show like the one from American Dream, or what do you mean?
I was gonna say like the one for American Dream and kind of the one you had for Hammerstein last year. Can we expect
Oh,
anything like that going into Hammerstein this year? Another pre-show.
yeah, I think so. I think we'll have another one at Hammerstein.
I like the idea of warming up the crowd too. Everybody's filling in and you have something going on YouTube. The fans have this voice just going around. Like you have that live feeling right from the moment you get in the place, and it gives you a busyness. Like people are stirring, things are moving on. And I don't know. I like the idea a lot.
Same.
James McGrady said, I also just want to say how thankful I am for being a small part of the GCW and the doors it has opened for me as a referee. Hashtag Jumbo Ref. Thanks, Brett and Chad.
Yeah. Jumbo's definitely one of our MVP helpers, part of one of the leaders of the Chad Mins gang. So I appreciate all those guys. They all work so hard, and it's one of those things in wrestling. There's certain groups of people that do massive chunks of the work and never get any of the credit, and those are the types right there. So yeah, thanks to him.
Did Chad, I'm so sorry, Brett. Did Chad say that there were any logistical issues whatsoever in setting up this stage at the complex?
Well, yes, there were. There was a few issues. Chad actually, I just will say, Chad's definitely Chad's the actual MVP. And I mean, Chad, I don't know, he just has I can always, he's the most dependable person on my entire team. And that goes, and that applies for years and years back. His work ethic is second to none. I mean, he will just get it done, period. Whatever needs to be done, Chad will go the extra mile to make sure that it gets done. I mean, yes, there were challenges setting up the ring. We had to use a freight elevator and a loading dock, and it was not easy. And I know that at one point, Chad had to take the ring out all by himself. I think on, what was it, Sunday morning. He wasn't able to get the ring into the trailer Saturday after the event because the parking garage was so packed that he could not back a trailer up. He couldn't back his truck up to the trailer. There wasn't enough room to move the truck. So they had to bring, they broke the ring down and carried it out and basically left it in the loading dock. And he had to go back the next morning at 7 a.m. and get it. And of course, there's nobody to be found to help him at 7 a.m. So he carried almost the entire ring from the loading dock out to his truck all by himself. So, I don't know of many people who A, could do that, or B, would do that.
I notice he has old school work ethic. Maybe that's the way to put it.
He does.
All right. Anything else, guys? I don't like holding up Brett just for, you know what I mean?
True.
Brett, is there anything you wanted to say at all? Because I know you came on here, you wanted to at least talk about what you did talk about. Anything else that's on your mind?
Well, just remind everybody again, Hammerstein's coming up January 19th. This is even more so than the last time. I would say this is the most important show in GCW's history. Whatever happens on that day, we will have earned all of it. We will have worked for every ounce of it. And, this is going to be a blood, sweat, and tears GCW event. And, we need to have everybody behind us and, everybody's support. We hope everybody can be there. If you can't be there, we'll hope you'll watch it, and we'll hope you'll help us spread the word. Because it is the people versus GCW now. So, yeah. So, I don't think there's ever been an event where the title of the event was more topical and real. So, we definitely need everybody on our side. And those that are on our side, we need you. It's time to stand up and help push this thing across the finish line.
The Easter eggs were not lost on us when this new wave of posters came out with the people standing next to the bus, where the bus only said correction. It's not lost on us what you're trying to do here with this. So
yeah. Well, I am looking forward to it. I'm sure I'll have more to say when we get closer to it, and probably on the day of the event as well. I don't know. I'm just like, this is consuming all day, every day for me, and for many people
can't wait
on our team. So, just gonna keep pushing.
just acknowledging publicly, it is a lot of stress. Anybody who's a fan who's just been watching on Twitter the last 4 weeks, 6 weeks can just see, if you just look publicly at what's going on, it's a lot for one person to handle. And Brett handles everything primarily by himself as much as possible.
Rose just put something great into chat. I think that would be a great shirt for Hammerstein, would be the black on orange.
No, those are in the works. They're in the works.
Okay.
So then where was Kelso? Kelso was in here. Brett, please give me what I want. Give Jimmy Lloyd the title back finally. And we are now allowed to let you go until you acknowledge Jimmy Lloyd as our tribal chief.
Wow.
Kelso has demands.
God damn it, Kelso.
There's Jimmy's got to do his part, so.
Well, Brett,
maybe, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
I just wanted to say I wish we had that large TV from Dream On. I was hoping to call it the Jimbotron.
That was a good. That is the Jimbotron. That was a cool screen.
Yes, yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Yeah, Brett, I just want to say thank you for hopping on and giving us your time heading into Hammerstein. And yeah, as you know, you're more than welcome anytime to come on here and speak your mind.
Thank you. I'll be back.
Thank you very much, Brett.
And check out the podcast on Patreon, History of GCW.
Oh yeah, please do. The new format. It was fun to record that, so definitely I would love to hear people's thoughts on that. And I'm ready to do another one.
We'll be hitting you up here then soon. Yes.
Yep. Okay, guys.
Thanks again, Brett. Have a good night, man.
Yep. See ya.
Yeah, Brett.
All right.
Alrighty, look at that. Nobody got in
so
trouble.
Cardona versus Manders.
Hey, we can jump right into that and pick right up. No big deal. But
I'm about to say, I don't know. I think we got a lot. Yeah. I like those orange shirts. That last idea was awesome. Like that was a great idea there. I'm excited to see the new shirts when they come out.
Because I was talking to some other people who were saying like we should just all the regulars should just get white on black guilty shirts and wear those to Hammerstein. But now I hear the think of inmate style GCW box logo shirts. I think that's the move.
That's crazy.
Hey,
so
Rose,
should we go ahead into
two
Matt
people can have the
Cardona
same great
versus
ideas.
Manders?
I'm sorry.
We can go quickly if you want to, guys. We don't have to go crazy.
Well, I'm sorry. What was that? My idea again. Okay.
Yeah, Rose, it's like great minds think alike. Rose, it's fine.
Yep, great one said we haven't hit even hour 2 yet. Oh no, we have. All right.
I'm sorry, we won't be able to cover Bloodsport tonight. Let's get through the back half.
Yeah, we might not be able to.
I'm about to say, yeah, we have a lot still to talk about just on this show, even.
Well, we can pick it up. That's not a problem. We're good with this stuff, right? Wrong? They look scared. Yeah, we're good. We got this, listeners. We're gonna do this.
I'm not scared. I'm just processing like the conversation and yeah.
Me too. We always forget that everybody, all of us are just normal people doing our best. And when you're online and people are tearing you apart just because it makes them feel better or just because that's just their TV show for the night is to just, I do feel it's kind of sad. And that also goes in with all the tribalism across all sides. I mean, that just kind of stinks because if we really knew how to all get along, the indie scene could bring together this piece, that piece, this piece, that piece. But again, we're all human beings with flaws. I mean, what you gonna do? We're all doing the best we can. Again, I feel like this is kind of difficult for Brett. And if I were in his shoes, it would be increasingly difficult and stressful on me too. So I think he's handling it to the best of his ability. We had four announcements for tonight. So, James McGrady said, see y'all Friday. Have a good night, brothers. Well, we'll see you. We're going to be here for just a little
Jumbo,
bit.
I'll see you on one of the next loops. We cross paths more than not. So we'll see each other. So.
All right. So yeah, we can do this. We're only at match 4, guys. No big deal. We were doing it.
We'll quickly go. I'm gonna put my notes away
The
just
back
so that way I
half's gonna
don't.
go quick because all we said
I'm
is,
about to
yeah,
say,
we
yeah.
said this before. Yeah, we said this before.
No sweat.
Never mind.
All right. Do you want me to get rolling kind of thing, or what you got?
Yeah, go ahead. So I'll do it. Fourth matchup is the complete Matt Cardona versus one called Manders.
Cardona has red, white, and blue themed gear. He says he's the gatekeeper and he built this place. MDK chants organically start.
That was
breaking
me.
out.
I started that bullshit. I was the MDK chant. I will admit it.
Cardona
Like to
says
hear
Nick
it.
is in jail, and fans started laughing. Matt announces, like Gage, they're leaving. Okay, side note, I'm paying attention closely here. Do you notice that Cardona has always something to say about Nick? I'm just going to bold prediction, Gage versus Cardona at Hammerstein. Bold prediction. I just want to put it out there. You can shoot it down if you need to.
It's
possible.
You know, that's one of those wish reaches that could happen, but I'm not holding my breath if it doesn't type.
Right. And
So,
I'm
great
pulling
one.
it from the littlest thing too.
Great one in chat says Starks did the Luger mall fit, Cardona did the Luger gear. I saw Ricky Starks as more of a rock, is like an old school silk shirt Rocky.
Yeah.
Than Luger, but I can see what you're saying.
He's always been rock to me, kind of. He always is like baby rock, Ricky Starks.
I'm gonna go right.
Here's what I mean. If you watch his mic work with his confidence, if you let him dick around just a little bit and kind of joke around with the message that he has within the next 5 years, I think his banter, it's already good, but I think it could be fantastic.
His banter would survive the Attitude Era.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
So your Cardona versus Gage ain't too crazy. Well, I guess crazy.
It is.
Immediately I wrote in this match, like before the match even started, and seeing Ricky, I was like, Ricky Cardona, that's Hammerstein, and then they announced it for LA, and I was like, holy shit, LA's getting it. That's gonna be nuts. And yeah, unfortunately, that's not gonna happen. But that's what I was going right for. So Cardona Gage, it's not too far off from what I was going. Baby.
So then Cardona and Jimmy turn to leave. Then Bon Jovi plays over the radio. Manders walks out like you motherfuckers died over there. Manders walks out like he's about to serve justice to Cardona. He's got new gear and it looks great. Manders' character is really finding its footing. I like the Man in Black also. I want a Man in Black Johnny Cash Manders variant. Does anybody have yes, no on that one?
I could see it. I could see that as like his his super gimmick, a la Liger or like Finn Balor with the Demon. I could see that as like as you fucked up. Okay, now you're gonna face the super gimmick.
I like that idea too. Something really important. He comes out all in black.
Because I think that's a concept that's not explored enough in wrestling. I mean, if everybody has one, it's not special anymore. But there is that balance where we're just not at the balance of people who can do that yet. I could see it.
I also wrote here, you'd never know the guy in red, white, and blue is the bad guy and the man in black is the good guy. I was laughing
until Matt opens his mouth.
Yeah, pretty much. Laughing at Cardona forcing senior referee Adam Galt to count out Manders. Jimmy interferes. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. After several hard-fought minutes, Manders has the upper hand. As his back is turned, JBL gets in the ring. He delivers a huge lariat to Manders and lays him out. Cardona covers for 3. Our winner here, Matt Cardona. What are your thoughts on this one and JBL?
It was standard, WWE style interference match. I think it worked. It did it. It served its purpose.
I kind of wrote JBL showing up and Laird and Manders. I kind of hope, if anything, at least some Manders versus JBL at Hammerstein. Kind of like JBL kind of is the blue meanie. I'm not saying Manders is a blue meanie, but like he's the big guy in Hammerstein. If they could do a cool little callback maybe of Manders socking one on JBL this time around.
I think there has been some hints that having Kurt and Mick at this show, and there has been rumors of Mick coming back for one last time. We can't overlook that. I mean, that's in those heart of hearts, hoping for something to happen that may not happen.
Well, didn't he say no because he'd have to I think the doctor said no because he'd have to.
Something about back when he first said this, it was off, but I think it's back on.
Oh, okay.
But that's just something to keep an eye on at this point. I don't think it's actually something to say, okay, hey, we might get Mick and Hammerstein, blah, blah, blah. But that's something just to at least have on your radar.
I also wrote here, you'd never know the guy in red, white, and blue is the bad guy and the man in black is the good guy. All right. So then I have Manders got an ovation from the fans. I would have actually switched from Cardona's music to Manders as he walked out, just as a homage there. Okay, so going back just for a second, I put that I would love a program where WWE wrestlers would maybe accompany a GCW star to the ring, kind of like JBL would do with Manders. Maybe gift him the lariat, and then from that point forward, book that lariat as deadly. Maybe give each performer a Hall of Famer or a star just to stand outside the ring, no contact. Maybe for fun every now and then the two Hall of Famers exchange a blow or something. But outside of that, I could see where you can boost the individual just by having someone standing out there and going, you know what, I give him the blessing with this lariat, or I give him the blessing with, whatever. Again, that sounds like an expensive thing to do, but playing with someone else's toys and money would kind of be fun. Josh Barnett came out to the ring, puts over Bloodsport. I'll just leave it at there. Is there anything else anybody wanted to mention between the complete Matt Cardona and one called Manders? All right.
Yeah,
perfect.
nothing I said. All right, our next matchup was Little Guido versus Ricky Morton.
Little
This
Guido
was-
and Ricky Morton.
Oh.
Woof.
This is the epitome of old Spring Break 1, Spring Break 2, what the fuck booking. That, this was when you see somebody like, this is just one of those out of nowhere matches that says, what? And just as someone who has been alive and has had a pulse in the last 30 years of professional wrestling, you got to go see this just for the spectacle of it, no matter what rating you may give it, just to say that, oh, I was there and I saw, this match.
So we mentioned Griffin McCoy and Kerry Morton because they're going to come out here in a second. Brent, you and I were talking about we'd like to see those two together, and they work together here fairly well.
Yeah, and I think this match made more sense than the original matchup. I'm glad they made the change. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, between Guido and Ricky Morton, there's 120 years of age and exactly 80 years of experience. Hard to argue that. They wrestle for 2 minutes, then out come Griffin McCoy and Kerry Morton, like we said earlier. They insult Guido and Ricky. Kerry told Ricky to listen to him, and Ricky pops him in the face with a nice little love tap. Once the dust settles, we have a tag match. So then we go to Little Guido and Ricky Morton versus Griffin McCoy and Kerry Morton. It's about a 6.5 minute match, kind of quick here. We see some old tricks that I love. The eye poke from Griffin McCoy. He tells Ricky to suck it, flashes his watch. The cocky but chicken shit heel in Kerry, constantly instigating. And of course, Ricky and Guido handing out ass whoopings from the top of the mountain of pro wrestling's Hall of Fame. Both veterans look good in the ring. They gave the young guys the business. Ricky hitting that Canadian destroyer on Griffin. Guido getting on all fours. Ricky pushes Griffin over Guido. Griffin falls down. Guido covers for the win. So our winners here were Ricky Morton, Little Guido. Again, I feel like I put about as much time into it as the match actually had. Any thoughts on this little interesting match? Exactly.
No,
In
put them
2020
together as a team.
In the year of our Lord 2024, I watched Ricky Morton play Ricky Morton for Little Guido.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
that's a very good way to put it.
And they're both going to be a Hammerstein, so I'm excited. I'm kind of excited
Yeah.
for what they could do there.
The one thing I do have to say about this match is, don't say like, oh, well, it's working on you. Can we just say that the heel tag team routine of, just the faces getting admonished for every little thing they're doing, like not touching the tag rope at all times while the heels get away with literal fucking murder, besides a tisk tisk and a don't do that from the ref. Can we say we're kind of beyond that, especially in this weird ECW style kayfabe that GCW is in? You can't have Perch standing there for 30 seconds at a time telling Ricky Morton of all fucking people to hold on to the fucking tag rope and then watch Griffin Kerry on the other side. It's just whatever immersion we have in this match, because it's tenuous at best because the age difference. It just breaks whatever is left there.
I think I hate when just wrestling kind of does like make the ref look real bad on purpose, because then it's like it's kind of shades just like everything about the whole just wrestling in general, kind of
like you have Perch standing nose to nose with Ricky Morton telling him hold on to the tag rope, and then you have him turning around and yelling from 30 feet about Ricky and Kerry. I'm sorry, I'm getting their names mixed up. Kerry and Griff, double teaming Little Guido in the other corner. That's an artifact and that's a shtick and a routine from a different age that just doesn't work today.
So here's my thing. I think tag team wrestling, like not back when the Young Bucks, but like a few years ago, was kind of like evolving. You got to see different ways in psychology that the matches were going. And I feel like in the last couple of years, tag team wrestling kind of stopped all that and kind of gotten lazy. And that's why we're kind of seeing the same old formulated kind of stuff. Like, I feel like the tag team creativity kind of stopped a little bit the last couple of years. I would just like
a
to
lot
see
of those,
for more variation.
Those godly tag teams got sucked up to TV, so they don't have the reason to innovate anymore because they're just doing their shtick for TV and house shows, so they don't really have to innovate. And
I think that's where like kind of this younger generation is kind of, I kind of want to expect more from these younger wrestlers. Like, I love seeing like Bang and Matthews. They do a very good job of it. Waves and Curls, Main Event. They do a really, like, they have always unique tag team matches, but they're like, because in other promotions, I'm not talking about GCW, but in other promotions, they are a little bit more strict on the tag rules and the just normal wrestling rules. And I see a little sometimes better action over there than over here, because as you said, it kind of just depends on who the referee is or who the opponents are and who the tag teams are. But I think like we just get a little bit more realism. For me, that's what I kind of miss in tag team wrestling, is the realism and the kind of the strict rules following. But I know that's counterintuitive to say as a GCW fan, but for me, I miss that in tag team wrestling.
Can we just get one genre savvy referee who doesn't fall for this shit? That's all I'm asking for. I mean, if we did that, that would actually open up some opportunities. Like, oh, well, if you have a really cheaty, like a super cheater, and then you say, oh, well, you're going to have your match, but it's going to be referee X who does it. And then he says, oh, shit, I'm fucked, because he can actually catch all that stuff. That's an angle that's not, that's not a avenue or a knob to turn on, mixing and matching that isn't turned as much, that we could see something, moved on.
Like about 2-3 years ago, I just learned this, and because I'm not a big fan of like paying attention. I'm a big fan of it, but I don't watch the product to know this kind of stuff or ever paid attention or understood it. But in lucha wrestling, like there's like Rudo refs and stuff like that. Like there's heels ref and face refs, and like it changes the count and it changes.
That was back during the invasion.
It's still doing it. Nick Patrick. Yeah. I love it. And like it adds, as you said, variation, differences, and it just adds something to the match. And I think it creates a lot of creativity that could be done with the match using the ref as a tool. If the ref is a tool like Nick Patrick or a heel ref in lucha, and I like that. I wouldn't mind seeing more kind of stuff like that.
This is an issue that happens in all independent wrestling, not just GCW, but GCW is guilty of it too. It's the Taco Bell school of we have 7 ingredients and we're going to arrange them in different ways. And, putting in there, having a ref with a personality besides, I'm the ref and I'm a different ref than that ref the last match. That like at the beginning of AEW, they had where, like Bryce Remsburg did all the big matches, and, I can't forget his name. The Bucks ref who was the bald guy, Knox.
Yeah.
Rick Knox. Yeah. Who was able to keep the traffic straight in all those big multi-man matches. They had their little personalities and their little lanes they stuck in, and that's just disappeared.
And then when for him, like when it did break down, you just saw him like, oh fuck it, I guess like let's just let it go. The fans are happy, like let's throw the rules away.
Yeah, and then Rick Knox himself jumps over the rope and does a tope himself. Right? There's personality besides just being the guy in the striped shirt. I think would be interesting to see in today's day and age.
Yep.
That's why I go with tie-dye shirts, bitch. Nobody sees it coming. Also, I just want to say hi to Reed Harris Cooper. There we go. Good to see you tonight, bud. What do we got here?
You missed.
I was actually riding the rail with him.
Oh, you missed
he was actually with us in the cheering section up on the second balcony for Dream On. So I was hanging out with him and a couple other people that I see all the time at all these shows. So
nice,
cool.
Yeah,
that's what community is about.
We're just getting into the good stuff right now. 2,700 people later.
Yep.
Is that where we're at right now? It's around 27. Okay, good.
2,700.
Griffin and Carey, this team, I think it works. Somehow they balance each other. Can't put my finger on it, how or why. Was there anything else? I know you had a note here. I didn't know if you wanted to mention anything on this one before we moved on, Frank.
I think that's what his note. We just hit it.
I just cleared it.
All right. Our next matchup is for the. Was it for the tag belts? Yeah, it was for the tag, but yeah. Was for the tag team titles as Violences for. Usually you have it on the titles, so that's why I got thrown off. Violences Forever versus Genesis.
Oh, right. So Violences Forever with one of their patented entrances. Bet it sounded cool live. Joey got one of Megan's fucking headpieces on. I laughed so hard. I really enjoyed the struggle between both teams in this match. Bane killed it. Joey did a ton of work. Both members of Violences Forever were punishing on Genesis. Joey had a visible uncounted 3 count. I'm going to hand that over to you for a second, Frank, because I just saw your note here.
This was the second week in a row. This is what Cole was mentioning in his promo afterwards, that this was the second week in a row that VIF had a visible ref knockdown unresponsive crowd counted 3 count on the champions. And this is going to be that chink in the armor, that crack that's going to start to break down at VIF, that they're not as untouchable as you think they are.
That's a good way to put it.
So
let's see what else I have here. Kevin Koo holds Janelle upside down in the air over a chair. Dominic delivers chasing the dragon, and they covered for 3. Our winners here. Violence is Forever. What are you thinking over there, Brent?
I'm at this point. I'm really hoping for anybody to beat Violences Forever. No offense. If you're not going to give me stories, I want new titles, new champions, new matches. Megan looked really solid in the ring tonight. That suicide dive to the outside was really smooth. Yeah, she killed Scarlett on that spear too. Scarlett got folded in half on that spear. Sold it very well. I don't like the finish. I was happy to what we're about to get to now, but it was a match, and at this point, I want to see new champions. And I kind of wrote in my notes too. The next night at Bloodsport, I was kind of hoping it'd lead into some tension with Violences Forever to tease a possible title change at Hammerstein.
I'll cover this in my ups and downs a little bit more later at the end of the show, but this was honestly, the crowd was not as into this match as they should have been.
Yeah,
really.
There was a couple times where there were like clap builds that were started by Dominic just powdering out on the floor. That like from my vantage point, I could see it that other people couldn't. That Dominic was just on the floor trying to start a slow clap to get some momentum going in this match, because they're just lack of interest. I don't know what know what to call it.
I think it's fatigue, in my opinion.
So that's what I was going to say. Was it fatigue? Maybe the last match kind of drew it out of him, which I don't know. But I mean, we're in
my opinion, I think it's VIF fatigue, like as tag champions. That's what I would think. That for me personally, that's where I'm at. Like that's why I want new champions. I don't know if maybe that's what you think, Frank, but that was what my opinion was.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know the exact words I want to use, so I'm gonna hold my tongue on it. But yeah, that could be the feeling that I want to give off on that. Yeah, definitely. So
after
you guys answered my question here. Sorry.
Oh, there we go. What's
this sorry. No, go ahead. I skipped it first. Right. I thought we were there yet.
There were some boos. Kevin shut them up. Violences Forever cut a promo saying they've made tag team wrestling matter at GCW. Somewhat hard to argue. 386 days holding, 27 defenses, 25 of those within this last year of their reign. Kevin says no one can beat him. I'm going to stop right there. I have an idea we need to talk about. We talk about Violences Forever. We said we'd like to see more character and attitude from them. They spoke today. I was listening carefully. A little mic work goes a long way. My suggestion to add some dimension: after every match, grab the mic, stand in the ring directly over your opponents that you just beat, and announce your next challenger live on air. I don't care if it's Goldberg style. Blah, blah, blah. You're next. Throw down the mic, leave the ring. I feel like without preparation, that one sentence would be a big deal. Almost zero mic skills needed. It would sound like a threat. After the 15 plus wins that they tagged in months ago, people will start to take you seriously. It's one thing to win. I feel like it's another to call your shots. You would look like you delivered on your promises, and fans would get the live drop on their next match. That would have added more dimension to their character and given both wrestlers a tagline. That's what I have to say when it comes to just giving them a little something that would have got them over.
Yeah.
Any thoughts? Yeah.
10 out of 10 notes. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want something. I want something of substance, and
we need a little bit of something because VIF has always had this issue for people who don't hear them talk. Their voices don't match their faces.
Nope.
So when you don't and that can be cured by just pure exposure to, it's like, oh, that's not, that's not the voice that comes out of that, face. It's just that when you hear it enough, you don't even think about that anymore. And they haven't talked. They've only talked a couple of times. So and we're still in that awkward, oh, that's what they sound like phase.
Yep.
So.
Yep. I'd take the microphone. I don't care which one. I'd be like, bop, bop, bop. You're next. Throw that fucking microphone down. Walk. Come in next time with attitude. Beat the piss out of them, Road Warrior style. Announce who the next fucking sad assholes are that's about to take a beating from you and leave.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like the dimension. Short and sweet. It took just a little bit of imagination, and it takes the execution of one microphone in a sentence. Boom. We have shit talking going down off camera. Cole and Alec Price then appear on the stage. They get in the ring and
definitely missed their cue. If you watch it back, they definitely missed their cue.
So that is kind of funny because we may have stumbled on something here. I actually like the daddy shit talking off camera. Think about maybe the New Age Outlaws or the New Day would do. Let them talk shit, then hit the music, then come out. Kind of a cool entrance, what about this Bustas said this, blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't know, Blue. He said this, this, and this. Let him talk for 10 seconds and then hit the fucking music. I think it would be an ultimate face move, and not a lot of tag teams on the independent scene are doing it, partially because some of them just don't have a microphone back there. Daddy's challenge for that World Tag Team Championship at Hammerstein in New York City. Most importantly, Cole has that ring, and they don't have to use it to challenge for the title. So where's that? I don't know. Is it just a double challenge where if they lose, they turn around with the ring and go, you know what? They just had us by surprise. We're turning in right now.
As they're celebrating this quick little cash, like lose quick. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, but I didn't know if it was for the if he cashed it in or not. That was in my notes. I was like, was this a cash in? Yeah,
I thought it was an announced.
Is this the cash in?
Yeah.
Oh, really? See, for me, I thought that cash-ins were like surprise, but
well, no, there is a history of. I mean, let's not dance around the bush. This is obviously a Money in the Bank style, trophy. So there have been a couple. I think it was Cena and I want to say RVD was the other guy who announced. I could be wrong, but I think at least two of them have. Yeah, the brass ring was never mentioned, but people have announced their Money in the Bank cash-in matches as I'm not gonna sneak up from behind you and then just cash it in while your leg's sticking out, your shin is sticking out of your leg. But I thought that they were face enough that they were calling their shot for their Money in the Bank. But if we're just hearing that this is just an out of the blue, no certificate, no cash-in needed type match, I can definitely see some fuckery with like a 2 out of 3 falls style match happening. So
chat's
wild. I hope it doesn't go 2 out of 3 falls. I like that.
Yeah, okay, I was right. Clown said RVD announced for One Night Stand too. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. So
I like that idea. Some Phantom win, and then they're celebrating, and Garbage is like, "Watch this, fuckers!" And Phantom win back at that. Mm-hmm. That'd be good. I didn't think about that. I like it.
John Wayne Murdoch comes out and announces himself for the ladder match for the UV title at the People versus GCW. Brandon Kirk then announces he's entering himself into the match. Drew Parker out next, says he wants a 3-way match. Emil announces a 3-way, and then we hear Traymon's music. This match has become a 4-way. That basically leads us into our next match.
Hardcore scramble nothing. As Matt Tremont, Brandon Kirk, Drew Parker, and John Wayne Murdoch make up the 4.
These guys had a little hardcore match. Cookie sheet, stop sign, trash can lid, chairs, doors, kendo sticks, and a caution wet floor sign. Tremont hit a tope. We had split screen. Parker slipped on the wet floor. We had it all in this match. Our winner here was Matt Tremont in a very quick 7-minute match. What do you guys think?
It was a beautiful, beautiful little bloodless hardcore match. And, that's exactly what they needed. Just some little comedy-ish spots just to get, just to get the crowd going again. Worked perfectly.
Yeah, I wrote this match actually got me into the UV ladder match at Hammerstein. I think last week I was saying that.
The atomic drops onto the wet floor slide. That was definitely the most
Yes.
cringy spots in this entire match, but all in good fun.
I like the creativity. That's why I wrote later on. I said now I'm excited for the match because even though I know there's not going to be blood at Hammerstein, if they could do fun, creative spots like this while still kind of getting violent and using weapons, and then you add in the unpredictability of ladders involved with the 6 people in the ring, and those 6 people or the 4 people they announced. As you said, I think we know number 5, number 6. I think I'm more lost than you guys are. I have no idea who number 6 could be. I have my guess. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm excited for all the unknowns of ladders, the unknown opponents, and what we could see at Hammerstein, especially Drew Parker, Tremont, Kirk, getting a moment at Hammerstein, John Wayne Murdoch. I think it's going to be fun.
Who's your call, Brent?
Drew. Absolutely Drew.
No. For one of the mysteries.
Atticus number 1, and I'll be honest, I have no idea who the 6 could be. Like, what I need help here. Like, my guess would be Sawyer to kind of counteract Atticus, but I don't want to see that. Redacted, I want to see, but
redacted or Danger based off reactions in these upcoming weeks. I think is the best way to go.
Everybody's been talking about Danger and death matches lately, and so has Brett. So something tells me that's very possible, and he wants to do them.
And
this
Danger,
is beautiful.
And the last at Fight Club weekend, Danger jumped off a truck and the imaginary second floor of a restaurant. Like,
yeah,
I want to see Danger at Hammerstein jumping off a ladder for sure. Like, can
you imagine a 20-foot ladder in just the void of the orchestra pit at Hammerstein with him just jumping off to a table to the outside? Like, I could absolutely see that happening.
Yeah,
dude has no fear.
I'm excited.
Luckily. He's one of our viral people too. He does one dive. We'll be talking about him for at least half the week. I love that.
This match saved it, man. I'll be honest, this match saved it.
Good. Like Danger always does it in a crop top GCW logo t-shirt. He's not doing it in his own merch. He's doing it in a company shirt.
Repping the brand.
Exactly.
Yeah. So on my end, I expect Atticus to take one spot, and I feel that Redacted takes the other. Frank, what's your thoughts?
It's definitely, I was leaning more towards Danger. Redacted is absolutely a spot. I think it's that Atticus is going to be that number 6 slot, but whoever that 5th slot is, I think it's going to be one of these, ICW NHB refugees, like from the NGI match with the NHB unofficial 4-way with Tank, Tommy, Vendetta. I could see it's going to be Danger, Redacted, or Vendetta. I think would be a good call
choice
for that extra spot that's not Atticus.
I'd like that. Yeah, those are good choices.
Great one said Danger doing the balcony dive, and right there I said I think that might be one of the people.
Right there.
I have an outside name, but after these new matches or new talent announced for the Hammerstein show, Justice was one that I was kind of thinking of.
Yes,
but now with Tanaka and all these people, I want to see one of those matches.
When I saw Tanaka, I think that Tanaka is going to be the Bloodsport slot.
I hope so.
Think about that. He's done it before,
Tanaka's been on Bloodsport, so I think that could slide in nicely there. So,
I like that we're a lot more selective about our Japanese talent too. So we're not bringing in half-asses, and I feel like we actually bring in names here that people want to.
This was for a purpose. Like this was a purposely done
purpose.
Like we have Tanaka and Tajiri. Like, where do they slot in on this card?
Tanaka and Joey, great one said, and Joey did tease that match. I'm for that 100%.
I want Justice to get that match.
So Joey's a mature wrestler, and Tanaka is a mature. Joey can maturely wrestle. Tanaka is a more mature wrestler. I have a feeling they're going to go back to the 90s, and it's just going to be.
Well, we also have
headshot fest.
I know this wasn't a GCW match, but the night before, Dream On, there was another show in the area where Joey went 15 minutes with a guy who's never had a professional wrestling match.
Oh, yeah.
So, with Justin Finn, yeah. And they went, I think it was 14 minutes or so, 14, 15 minutes.
I like that one. Tanaka's not a bad one either, but get a new one in there.
Tajiri versus versus Barnett, I think is too much of a size difference for
True.
Bloodsport.
I
could
forgot
see
it's Barnett as the opponent. I forgot.
I could see it, because it's professional wrestling and size doesn't matter and all that shit. But Hurt Business.
That was
like,
my thought. That was my thought too. And I'm like,
yeah.
ooh, yeah.
So what's
mean-
in my mind is what's in my mind from looking at these.
The only issue with that,
announcements-
sorry, John.
I'm sorry.
The only issue is that where the hell does that happen in where we had Ricky pulled? Bobby just may not happen because of what happened today.
That's why they said that.
I could see that could have been the thought 2 days ago. Bobby versus Barnett could have been the thought.
I thought that was the lock for sure, actually, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it still is. Maybe like Brett said, he just heard about Ricky. We don't know about anybody else. So
yeah.
Is anybody thinking about the fact that we may see Team ECW versus Team GCW as a match? Because we have so many older, more mature wrestlers here.
Good way to hide that.
Putting them in a match together will also lighten their load. Yeah. So I'm thinking maybe we get old school ECW versus old school or GCW. I think that would be a fair passing of the torch if it's booked properly.
Now, okay, just because you said that, because I had this thought of literally going on my head. What do you consider passing the torch? Like,
I would consider having a knockdown drag out match that runs 10 to 15 minutes where at the end everybody can look around and go, damn, they did it. And just because those three would be in the match, they would be able to go over to them, raise their hands and go, these guys are
you have to be very careful that it doesn't get that you don't lose that in the hey, look, they did the indie loser raises the winner's hand territory though. I understand what you're saying, but there's that line that you have to very carefully walk.
Fine. Very fine. Reed asked, but who is Team GCW? Oh, you want to go first, Brent? Sorry.
Yeah, I want to go first on the last thing, and I want to get to that one too, because I actually love that one too. Like, do you get what? The big thing everybody was mad at at Hammerstein, Ali lost, Effie lost to these people. How do you think the crowd reception is going to be if Tajiri, Tanaka, Crazy all just knock off one by one GCW wrestlers? How would you feel with that talent doing that to GCW?
It still wouldn't be the right call. It still wouldn't be the right call.
MLJ has a fucking crazy idea right here. Emil says my crazy ass would do Guido, Crazy, and Tajiri versus Reefer, Gringo, and Speedball.
Jesus
Emil, we're saving that for the Emil Books Hammerstein show. Calm down. Hold on. Hold on.
We also miss you, Emil. As soon as we can, we got to get you back over here sometime. We do miss you, brother. Guido.
See, like in my opinion, I think, and this is just mine. Chat, how would you guys feel if those three people got 3 individual wins over GCW people? Because, like, for me, I'm cool with these 3 names doing it because they're actually like GC or EC. I get why you're saying, but like at least they're ECW originals. At least I think their name value holds a higher value to GCW fans.
I'm still a
Jeff
purist
Jarrett and Ruby Soho. Like, I think those names would, to me, don't matter as much as a Jeff Jarrett or
I'm
Ruby
still
Soho.
a purist where I think that the people who are younger and have more of their career ahead of them need the rub of the win rather than having the crowd go home happy because the legend won.
So would this be like Mathers and a team of 2 others, or is that too young and you need to go a little higher up
I
the food
think
chain?
someone at the peak of their career needs to
SGC.
prove
Speedball.
Yeah.
My thing with
SGC coming back together, if only.
I don't think it's
can't
going to be
happen.
Gringo. I don't think it's going to be Gringo though. I think Gringo's being saved for some crazy 6-man lucha bullshit. Because that's where he was last year.
I'm cool. That was the match of the night for me. That at Hammerstein. That's the only match not the only match, but that match I talk about the most and always showcase to new fans. So I was trying to get into GCW. Like, what kind of wrestling watch? Oh, I like lucha stuff. Here you go. And I showed them. They're like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
Next year they went to Dallas to go see the World on Lucha in Dallas. So I want to see Gringo in the trios for sure. Super Crazy being in trios deal. Yeah.
Yeah. Super Crazy isn't doing backflips or stuff anymore. If they do, it's like better plan it and it better come off the top rope. But
I could see Desperados versus
Hoovy. Ooh, Desperados is a good one. That's a good one.
They could all handle that together. Actually, I think that would be really good. And It would make the younger cats well, Ares can wrestle maturely, Gringo can wrestle maturely. I think they would be able to handle just as well as Joey or most others, and they fit the style and speak the language. I feel like to have them comfortable, you may want them in their setting more than having them come to our, what we're familiar with. But yeah, these are ECW originals, and yeah, they're going to be getting older. So this is a situation where why we can see them, we need to get them in the tape library. We need to do it now because there will be a day where they won't be able to get out there anymore, and then we're living on tape, well, video. But yeah. Anything else on that one?
Nope.
Hold on. What was that one? Dude, I'm so lost here. I got so much shit going on.
You're good. Well, we had a crazy night with
good.
all the news and all the stuff, and then Brett came in and yeah. So
yeah, I'm good. Yeah, we're on Masha versus Santana now. All right, our next matchup for the JCW title was Masha defending against Santana Jackson.
Santana came out first. Anyone knows Santana Jackson knows what kind of match we're getting, and we know we're going to be having a good time listening or watching it. Jesus Christ. Masha was out with 2 belts, JCW and the TNA Knockouts Championship. There was more wrestling than expected in this match, but eventually Thriller hits, and it's close to midnight, and something evil's lurking in the dark. My God, Santana has been turned into a werewolf. In a little 7-minute match here, eventually Masha even became a werewolf momentarily. She pulled off the win here, and still our JCW champion, Masha Slamovich. Guys, I'm dying over here.
I just want to say that I saw Santana the night before on that Friday show. Mm-hmm. I'm going to name it Arrival. Go watch Arrival on YouTube.
We support Isaac. VXS,
Isaac put on a great show, the old VXS. It's now called Arrival. I think they put on one of the best indie shows. It's finally on YouTube because they cleared up with their they got copyright struck for somebody's entrance music.
Oh, okay.
I never noticed that Santana's jacket has CTE on the shoulders, where I assume it would say like OBE, like Officer of the British Empire or something. His shoulder epaulets say CTE, which I think is the funniest little thing. I was sitting on the stage for Arrival, and you'll be able to see me like dumb stupid smirk. And his girlfriend was sitting next to me. She said, "Yep." And I guess I must have been one of the first people to notice that in a while because she was so happy that I was able to pick something out like that. So,
Rose said Gage was there too. Yeah,
Gage was at Arrival. He actually called Justin.
Yeah, called the match, right? Yeah.
Justin, if you don't know Justin Finn, he's one of the front row guys for Atlantic City for the longest time, and he's always been right there for Gage. So.
I'm watching it tonight, Reed. That's on my list. I actually want to watch that Pacific North to death. Let me get that ready too while I'm thinking about it.
I recommend them. They did a good job given the fact that their card was primarily picked apart on circumstances they couldn't. Yeah, given what they had available to them, they put on a damn good show, especially for a first show. There's so many things that could go wrong, and I feel like
I'm not thrilled for a no-ring show.
Pushed them above.
Not thrilled for a no-ring show, but...
because the next step down is the bar show, and then you know what I mean, and then you're down to no mat. Now you're just fighting in a bar, and then Rose said excellent show. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. For me, I was happy. Great one. You stole my damn notes, man. I swear, like you're in my notes. I was. Oh wait, not that one. I was happy that Santana was the choice for the mall. While I wouldn't have put him in this JCW title because. Going back to earlier, I was happy that he got the spot though, because that's a new venue, new lot of people seeing him for the first time. He's going to get the best reactions in that.
And the normies just happening to see a Michael Jackson impersonator at a wrestling show is one of those. It's one of those like off the wall moments. Like, wait, what? Michael Jackson's wrestling, huh?
But it works. That's what's so awesome about that. That's
the moonwalk DDT is one of the most unsung moves.
I like. Yep.
That is the most wrestling of all wrestling moves to have ever wrestled is the moonwalk DDT.
Love it. All right, so I had a takeaway watching this match. Masha's looked really in the zone right now wrestling. She in this match, I haven't really seen her in comedy matches too much. This one she looked like as a legit badass wrestler with the outfit and gear. She looked like the one that knew what to do and looked like the real wrestler.
TV.
And I like it. I think
Yeah,
it
that
looked
was
really good, and I think it
I
added
think
to
she
her
had her hair braided
presentation.
for TV when she won the TNA belt. And I think she just hasn't changed it yet.
And I think she should keep it because, like I said, to me, like she looked like a superstar wrestler in there against like a comedy wrestler. This is not like a knock on Santana. Like it just like to me, she looked really like and especially in the ring, she looked like she was just flowing through it, having fun. Like as we talked about, like Jack Cartwheel, just you find your comfort zone, you get more comfortable, and oh my god, I'm losing the word in my head
In
right
the
now.
zone.
But the confidence, like her confidence just through the roof right now, and it looked really smooth and good to see in the ring. Like this is why I think I want to see more from her. I want more for her. So,
For all we
but I
know,
wanted to
it
make
could
out
just
how
be
she looked good.
for all we know, it could just be the big dick swinging, like confidence from having the TNA belt.
I was just about to say
with
something that simple that like gives her like, hey, all this hard work I've been doing now, other people recognizes it. That could be like the confidence maker that sets her to another level. That's scary because she was doing good, and if she could still take it to another level, as I think she can, I'm excited to see it.
And it really sounds stupid, but stuff like hair matters, especially if you spend a decent amount of time or money on it. It shows, just like gear. But going back to like outside of hair and looks, she has definitely stepped up since that TNA Knockouts belt has been in her, bag. And I don't know. I like seeing someone who's, fucking sharp, just sharpen up even more. I feel that she must have a goal now that's bigger than there was even a couple months ago. I think you're right. The confidence level from that title may be the reason why, we don't know the real reason, but from the outside, it looks like that championship maybe made her realize that there are more levels to go for her and they are attainable for her. So we do wish her the best on that for sure. Cause little dynamite, man, Russian dynamite. Blake Christian then arrives. He beats up poor Santana Jackson. On Blake, you can see words that people have said about him, and they were written on him. So you see
And
words
in the mirror,
like
vanilla.
Yeah, he really, he's really taking this to heart. It's all going on there. I like the concept. I like something different and fresh. And also, I'm big on eyes. I think it's cool he's got the contacts in. So, also, I think he's getting beefier. Is that dude working? Like, doesn't it look like he's working out? Or, yeah, how that whips and chains. So.
I think he's I think he does look improved, like a little different, like toned out, or like even like a little bigger too, when like those masks, and that's going to be only good for him. Yeah, he killed Santana on that dive too. That dive to the side, he like nailed Santana right in the face like a bullet.
Like maybe 28, but he's still a baby. Let's just get it out there.
This song's gonna be stuck. It's been stuck in my head for like a week damn straight, man. Oh my god.
I'll stop while I'm ahead.
Reed has it right here.
I was just about to say, yeah, I was trying to see what that was saying there.
He said, so I had not noticed this before, but a facet was that Blake in this form is not Blake. He's Blake from the mirror. That's fantastic. I didn't think about that.
I hope he does something like Leo Rush with the multiple split personalities. Like I said, I wanted to see that from the beginning, but I think he could pull something off like that. And in this way, I didn't think he could do it as well as he did is doing it, but I want to see more from him. I want to see where this goes. Like as I don't know if you were saying it at the beginning, Frank, like this maybe is leading to a match with Masha, or if it was just him attacking afterwards. But
if it all depends on we gotta find that red line conspiracy board. Who is he picking off? Does he on Masha's next JCW defense? Does Blake go pick off whoever lost to Masha next time? Or we just got to find that through line between whoever Blake's picking off. So,
yeah. I liked it, though. I'm excited.
I'm going to say this now because it's just fresh in my mind. With picking people off, it really reminded me of Mason. And Mason just had that return promo. Where does Mason slot into all this?
He could be that Blake Christian is talking about, because he was always talking about I talked to him or he talked to me. One of his first
I always
ones,
thought that
was
is
supposed to be another person, but I don't know.
Well,
I think
the he that Blake is talking to is more of a metaphysical than an actual person.
or us. It could be the fans. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like your idea.
I thought it
though,
was
where it's
Little
more
Blake, to be
metaphysical.
honest with you. Like
I just mentioned
Blake.
Charles Mason because of the whole person was that just coming back and attacking people. I didn't mean to specifically link Blake and Charles. I just remembered.
Okay.
I just remembered because it just came to my mind because Charles had that promo he put out 2 days ago, the Cape Fear promo, or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's another thing I didn't even think about talking tonight is that promo.
So
I'm saying here, I thought he was the man in the mirror. So yeah, we're not.
He has
Blake
man in the
anymore.
mirror written on him. So it's definitely, I think it's himself or his id or whatever those, self super ego concepts are. I agree.
I just want to see the lights go dark at Hammerstein, and then you just hear that song.
Lean into it. Play the fucking song.
I'll tell you what, the well done
I got an idea now.
video promos though have really pushed the story along. He has not had to grab a microphone. He has not had to speak live. I like that. I feel like we've taken away one thing and improved another in this sense. He doesn't need to talk. I feel like the videos do it for him, and all he has to do is just show up, kick ass, stare at everyone, walk out.
I have to praise him. Like as you said, he's not wrestling, he's not talking, he's not doing anything physically in the ring or nothing. He's just putting out these videos, but he's like the talk of GCW right now. Like he's one of the most interesting characters just by those videos. And that's why I get so like, I want to see more social media usage because it's just a simple little thing. Not saying like it's simple, like he edits his own videos as we found out through Cardona.
But it's like, it's sorry, what the hell am I doing? I completely lost my train of thought.
Welcome to the midnight hour.
Jesus Christ.
Well,
this happens.
I forgot where I was going to now. Here we go.
Right?
You know what?
The comment messed me up here. The last comment totally messed me up. So that's why I'm done.
I like Great One's idea. Have the song start normal and then slow it down with a deeper pitch.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
Yes.
Blake could be tweeting about the fucking weather or hi. Blake could be tweeting about the weather or literally anything, and his replies on his Twitter are literally just pictures of vanilla ice cream and people screaming whips and chains. Like it's just so ingrained.
And it's getting interactions too.
He just needs to play it. He just needs to play whips and chains as his theme.
And here's why I might start feeling bad. Like it seems like he has a vision of where he wants to go, but something or another just totally veers it off the other way. Like,
but you know what?
He wanted to give a bye speech and be on the fan side, got booed, and now he's Ultimate Heel. And now he's trying to do this like man in the mirror kind of heel, and then now everyone's just sweeping him over to vanilla whips and chains.
Here's the thing, though. It works perfectly when you think about it from three more levels up. And because now it's not just. First, it was, we don't give a shit about you. And then he's putting out these heartfelt promos where he's trying to talk about help me, save me from this other person. And all people give a shit about are not the promos or the content of the promos. They're just talking about his fucking flippy shit promo where he put a funny song over it. Right. That's all they're talking about now. They could give a fuck about this deep, intensive, like thinking man's storyline. No, they just give a shit about the funny haha meme song.
Yeah.
And when you look at it from, more than floor level, that adds to this whole thing now.
Like, I think he could add like that little piece of that song that like how Leo Rush, when he was the Blackheart, you always hear the da-na-da, like the violin, like that little intro. Sure. You just hear that little in and outro. Like, yeah, that little song could add something. Like, and you said, just play the weather video, drop that little 2 seconds and it adds something to it. I mean, I hope he does kind of keep using it, but I do want to see him, whatever he has planned on this character, I want to see it play out to fruition. I don't know, but how did you guys think about the finishing move so far? Looks like he's just ripping the mouth off.
Different. I'll take different.
I like it. That symbolism of it.
I do too. He's trying to rip his like he's just trying to get to his soul. That's how
I think he's like trying to rip the like fans' mouths apart so they can't sit there and.
That's my thought. It's like they're trying to like shut him up by ripping his vocal cords out. Type thing.
He's literally making, it's like he's ripping them apart, but he's really doing it to the fans.
Yeah. I don't know. Never mind. I want to see him start attacking fans next, but I guess I should have said Just random show. But you know, like, who was it? Bob Backlund. Like when Bob Backlund used to pull random fans out of the show and like did the chicken wing on them. Like that was scary shit to me as a kid. Like holy fuck. Like I don't know. I'm interested. I really want to see what he's going to do here.
Who are we talking about when we were talking about Bob Backlund, John?
Okay, me and Frank were talking about the fact that I think I've mentioned it to Cole once, but I feel like when Cole goes, crazy.
We've got the man himself. Ever seen Saw? Yeah, so it's just trying to So he's trying to do Saw traps.
I like it. I like the mental gymnastics there. Sorry, go ahead. Go where you guys were going. I had to put that up.
I don't remember.
I didn't think he was still here.
No, we were talking about it.
Yes. So with Cole, I think I mentioned to him once before, but when he goes crazy and he has those wild eyes, it's fantastic. I thought he would do great in a Bob Backlund style character because he comes out, he looks clean.
Eyes.
Right. And
sorry.
Okay.
Cole.
So you know how Cole,
chat here. Oh yeah, Cole. Yeah.
Old school Cole, he would snap.
Yep.
I would like to see him do Backlund, the Backlund snap. Maybe throws him in a hold or a chicken wing and he just goes fucking nuts. I'd love to see it because I think he could pull it off.
Sorry, that was behind the scenes. That was us 2 or 3 partakes of the tokes in the other night.
Oh, I was doing dabs. I was having a hard time. Poor Frank had to put together my fucking words. Everything was backwards and upside down. It was terrible.
I like Reed here though. Like we made this. We have made Blake. Like we made Blake this way.
We made Blake this way years ago.
I think
it's just finally coming to the surface.
Oh.
Main event time, my friend.
Just in case this wasn't put on the screen. Yeah, I don't remember if I put that up there. Rip Mitten's face. That's not nice, Rose. All right, let's head to the main event of Dream On. Mance Warner defending the GCW World Championship for the last time against Effie.
Now, this stipulation was announced as Effie's last chance, but I don't think it was actually made very clear if this was Effie's last attempt at the title ever or his last challenge against Mance. So I in the end, it really didn't matter. But I'm getting ahead of myself now. But
I figure his last chance is about as good as the last chance he had 4 months ago. So just take it in there, put it for what it is, kind of be happy we have a championship match kind of thing. I still want to see just one-on-one him and Effie. Just that's it. Hammerstein.
Going into this, I was putting forward the thought that the stipulation is too big for Effie to lose clean in any fashion. That the only 2 logical outcomes of this match were no contest or Effie goes over clean to send the crowd home happy. Those are the only 2 logical.
About that in chat last week.
Those are the only 2 logical.
Like they're so ready to pop on an Effie win.
That's going to be the Hammerstein main. I think is going to be Effie over Mance. That's at this point in time, that's the only way that the math works out.
You don't think Effie stacks Ali and Mance on top of each other for the Roman Reigns style?
So for a good guy to win, the last thing to happen
or something more creative
to bury his friend, kind of thing. So. I'm just saying for purposes of the fact that we have
of finality that it needs to be one-on-one Effie Mance.
Yeah, we just had the feud of the year. They gave us the feud of the year. Everybody needs to step back and just let them have it out. It would be the ultimate ending to a beautiful story that they put together over years and years of effort.
I think putting Ali in the Hammerstein match with these 2 foreshortens another couple months of a feud that you're just wasting on a triple threat that people didn't want to have a triple threat in the first place.
Yeah, I'm not getting many fans that actually want it too much. There's a smaller see, so there you go. Brent's in it. Okay, so let's talk, Brent. You want a triple threat?
I'm going to counteract you guys here. Yeah, I'm all for it. Like, I feel like these 3 are like the 3 GCW stalwart, like not originals, but like have been around the longest. Every shows you could count on, like certain 10 every show.
Sorry, we have Kenzie in chat, who's Dr. Redacted's now fiance. Congratulations, you guys.
Congratulations.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Yes. It's my anniversary, my 19th anniversary today. So I want to tell you guys, if I do have a small wish,
happy anniversary.
Thank you so much. It's that I hope you both have a fantastic life together and you're capable of having just as much joy as we've had over our time. So from where I'm coming from, I hope that some of our luck goes towards you.
Kenzie, make sure that Doc brings the deathmatch whites to Hammerstein. I don't care if it's not a bloody match. If I don't see Doc in bloody whites at Hammerstein, it is a crime against humanity.
If a balcony dive happens, it'll just be a little ketchup on it, and it looks like blood. There we go. We're good.
No, they're already bloody. Just wear those.
True,
it's
right?
fine.
So yeah, I think I might be the one counteracting you guys here. I don't mind seeing the triple threat. Like I said, it's three stalwarts of GCW. And all three got screwed at Hammerstein. Like Ali lost to Ruby, Effie lost to Jeff Jarrett, and Mance was hurt. So I think this is like a way to make it up to those two. Give Mance his moment that he wasn't able to have last year. Other than he had a cool moment out, like not wrestling, but now that he's healthy and wrestling, I don't mind seeing Ali thrown in there to make it like a.
I think Ali's going to get her own win.
I don't know. Like I feel like this. I'm looking at this like a Shield, kind of like a trio, like big time trio to main event, like one of your biggest shows, like at the WrestleMania or something. I don't know. Like I love the visual of her at the end standing over there. I hated the finish. I don't like the, as you guys were saying, I hate.
Same.
I've always hated like just you book yourself in a hole when you say this is the last chance ever, or this is if he wins, he's never going to like Cody Rhodes 1-on-1. Like I called that right when I heard that, and he lost. I was like, they're screwed, and I didn't think it'd lead to this, but whatever. I hate that booking, but I really like how
my first thought was the Codyverse. The last thing we need is that Codyverse angle where he's just booking himself in his own little world because he can't go for the title. It was stupid, and that was exactly.
Yeah, so I for me, I would put those three people like kind of like the main focal points, and I just really think I think it does add in the next couple of months. I know you said not a lot of people want to see it. I wouldn't see these three interact, I guess, till Hammerstein and build something up because I do think they got some dirt. To like those three got dirt on each other. They're all three like, and Ali did. I love how Ali didn't pick any sides. Like that was the most important part for me was Ali not picking any sides and going to this in her own way. Because me and John, we've talked about wanting to see Ali step out on her own for a long time, and I was just happy to see it. So for me, I'm excited for it. I get why people don't want to see that and want to see just those two because it should have been finalized the last time. I wouldn't have done even this match even. But
Clown said, the ref bump lost some of its shine because they had the ref bump in the VIF match as well.
I was just about to say they had the same bump earlier. Yep, and you can't do that too close. I don't know. For me, I like it because as Graham was saying here, Ali and Mance had some like Mance beat the shit out of Ali. Like those were the most brutal matches, bloody. But like if you go back to those videos, the storytelling that they were telling those videos, it was awesome.
Ali carved up Mance with her own merch knife in LA that one time.
Yeah.
No, it was not Mance, it was Justice. She stabbed Justice.
She carved up Justice, right? Sorry.
Yeah, Justice, yep, in LA.
Oh my god, it's what time is it now? It's 2:00 here in the East, so forgive me.
There's almost 3,000 of us in here though, so hey.
Yeah. So for me, I don't mind if I get it. I will be on my island here with the undershort people, but I think it makes sense, and I think Ali deserves it. Affy deserves it, and I think Mance deserves it. So I'm all for it.
With a lack of any storylines outside of the Effie Mance feud, I can see it happening. But I think that for such a high level match, this deserves to be a one. This is a WrestleMania level match, and I don't think that the title.
I wouldn't have had 6 of them before then, within the last year, though. Then going into that point, that's my point. Like I wouldn't have done that. Teased it 6 times, but I wouldn't have done it.
But I think that this match deserves a one-on-one. Yeah.
Yep.
I had an idea and fucking lost it. Guys, where the hell are we at tonight?
I'm rambling on. That's why here.
That could be it. And
I missed all these, so sorry. I'm good with it. I think we 4-way. So what's the 4th? Who's the 4th?
I would have been into a 4-way. That isn't entirely terrible, but I don't think there's anybody that's in the storyline as much.
Hate that opinion.
I'm trying to run through who's.
It's all good music. Angle. That's why I don't know who was the 4th be in this angle.
That's assuming that
Atticus. See, oh no.
Okay, that's possible because he said he was going to go for the championship.
Too.
He got fucked.
And, okay, so Reed earlier said it. We were talking about the UV title, the 6-way. Atticus, like Reed said, why is Atticus worried about that? He said he's coming back for the world title, and I like it.
We pigeonholed him into the UV belt because he specifically went after Sawyer at NGI, where the UV was defended throughout the tournament. I think that's too many times mentioning the UV for him not to be involved with the UV for his comeback story. And once he reestablishes himself, I can see him flipping back to the main title run.
And I hope it's fast because that's the trajectory it was on last time.
And I misspoke, obviously. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I think he just said championship. I forgot that it was specifically UV.
I think he's going for the UV belt. I don't see him going for the championship right away.
Ooh, that's a nice one. I like this idea. Effie versus Ali.
Big Eight brunch
for the title.
That's what I was saying before. You have how many months of an angle with Effie versus Ali after Hammerstein? I don't want to burn that just to shove somebody into a three-way.
Jimmy could be the fourth, is what Clown says. It's possible. Be a pain in the ass. I want a clean 1-1. Maybe that's just me. And also, I want to admit it.
That's our traditionalism, John.
Right. And then if Mance loses the belt, I'm going to be sad as fuck because what he has going on is so fucking solid.
He did a great job carrying that belt.
The smarts. He's tricking the smarts into going, oh, I don't like him, blah, blah, blah. Like, he's got people legit pissed off in a crowd full of smart fans.
But I think you have the angle ready to go that if Answer loses the belt, instead of throwing his anger outward, he turns back in on Jimmy and Matt.
I not against see that. Yep.
And then you have that deathmatch. You have that deathmatch royalty collapse angle right there, ready to go.
Yeah.
I like that idea a lot.
I like it too. We didn't even get into the match, did we?
No, we didn't even touch the match.
Did you announce it, Brett?
Yeah.
Just go.
Okay. So Effie was out first. His entrance in this venue was awesome. Again, I wish I was there for that. Manser came out and went straight into the fans' faces, doing what he's done best for quite a while now. Both work incredibly well together between Mance and Effie and have cemented their rivalry as one of that will be looked on fondly years from now. Easily the feud of the year at GCW. People were screaming for Effie mid-match. Effie's way over with the fans. We saw doors, chairs, trash can lids being used. Mance choking Effie with tape. Of course, that ends up with an Effie likes it chant. Effie dropped on his spine on the chairs. I hate that move. And then Mance was set through them minutes later. Then Ali came out. This was towards the 17th minute of the 18. Hit both Effie and Mance in the back with a chair, and then went ahead and grabbed a hold of Galt. And after a little sandbagging, she put him on his head too. Our winner here, again, no contest. The ending left open a lot of possibilities. What do you guys have to say about this match? Any impressions?
I think that the way it happened, I think two chair shots to Mance made it less believable that Mance was laid out by two chair shots instead of if it was just one solid chair shot and get laid out, because it doesn't matter. Any given Sunday, people can get knocked the fuck out with a chair.
Yep.
But the first chair shot didn't stagger him, and then the second light toss was what knocked him out. You know, if you swing for the fences with a chair, it doesn't matter how big you are, how strong you are. If you get cracked on your head with a fucking chair, you're going down.
Mance,
kayfabe or not.
Mance's chair shots to Effie in the match were pretty brutal too. I mean, every strike that they've thrown against each other, this whole feud has been pretty rough, and I love it. For me, I like this match because while it wasn't as violent as the other one, you could see the sense of hatred in the strikes and everything that they did to each other. Yeah. So it's told the story of the hatred and the violence, just without the actual blood to showcase the violence. So I liked the different little match and kind of how they went with this one.
So I always wonder if a heel storyline to end a show is the best thing to do on a big stage with a lot of new fans. There's so many new fans who are clueless as to why their show ended that way, and they have no point of reference.
Not only did they end on a heel storyline, they opened on a heel storyline too. They opened
Yeah.
with the heel winning.
So
And that's
these
been
fans, they just have no idea. Sorry, Frank. They just have no idea, and then they go, okay, that was the end of the show, with
like,
no
okay,
understanding.
so
Like, are they going home happy? Is the question. They came in the
Yeah.
door and they're happy, and then they get kicked in the nuts on match 1. And then on the way out, we get an advancement of the storyline. But again, because we have so many new people, they may be having a difficult time
yeah.
understanding why the match went that way.
Well, after the cameras cut, Effie did get up and he cut a, like, how would you guys like the show? Type, after TV style promo of, like, he cut a, we put our bodies on the line for entertainment style promo after the cameras cut. So, yeah, it was just, I've said this before. It's, you want to have that, especially with people who aren't familiar with you, you want to have that discrete unit of entertainment that's sending people home on a no contest. I think is worse than sending people home on a heel win.
True, because you don't get any
No.
finality of it all.
Heel win, at least you get to say, "Oh, that's so bad. I want to see that guy lose." Blah blah blah.
I want to see his get his ass kicked next time, like next show.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just don't like letdowns. I figure there's going to be kids in the crowd.
Like that.
Do you want to send the kids home sad, or do you want to send them home happy? Because they're going to remember. This is like the storyline. They're going to remember the match end. They're not going to remember the middle.
Yeah.
It's always the ending. So I always say, put your best foot forward with adrenaline up front, and on the tail end, send them home happy. You can still advance storylines. Like you said, when the beatdown was over, Effie gets up and talks to the fans, and I think that's a good thing to do here. The pyro bat. I really wish, and this was Frank and I talking the other night, I'd like to see Allie make that her permanent weapon, only because no one else has it. It's like an equalizer.
If not a pyro bat, a popper bat, like a snapcracker bat. I think something in that vein is an interesting weapon to use.
Great one said here, even a straight man's win would have been better than the lame no contest.
But the issue is that we had that stip. It was hamstrung by the stip saying FE's last chance.
Yeah, I think that I just feel like fans are really fatigued on no contests. I ran some numbers on it. Do what you wish. I tallied the draws from the top 10 wrestlers with the most draws. Added up.
You prepared notes for this part, Sean?
In 2022, the top 10 people had a total of 19 draws. In 2023, there was a total of 13. In 2024, right now, so far, there's been a total of 41 draws. You're damn right I looked that up. I'm your data guy. Come on now. Someone's got to be looking this shit up. I also still worry about this story being so close to Manders, to the story with Mance and Effie, including some of the story parallels. I want a catty high school story between her and Effie. Sisters telling deep, dark secrets that expose each other. This type of direction is something Mance couldn't do, but Allie can.
Otherwise, you want to see some Mean Girls shit.
Yeah, because otherwise the run-ins and beating up Effie's friends is very familiar to us. The no contest, very familiar to us. You're going to have to dig in personally in a way that Mance can't. And when you find that spot, I feel that will separate this storyline from a storyline from just a couple months ago.
Sure.
That's just what the fans perceive.
I want videos, as you said, like Allie's going to drop some dirt on Effie, on Mance, and like these cool callback videos, like the little bubbly, and you see them back in the day. Like, I want to see like the dirt. I want to see why she's chosen to go on her own, why she thinks she should be in the right here. And that's why I'm kind of excited. I want to see all the dirt spilled and all like the reasons for it. If we don't get anything like backstory on it, then I think it's a big story wasted. I think if they start telling that backstory.
I think Reed hit on the head here with I'm waiting for the Alley to drop the does AJ know what you do in the road?
That's what I'm talking about. That stuff.
See, yeah, I want to see it too.
She needs to be like, hey, I'm just letting you know. I watched you say goodnight to your boyfriend, and
Mance
when you hung up the phone, you rolled over and kissed someone else goodnight. Now maybe it's time we start talking about all these extra relationships you have when you go on the road. And
Or
maybe
like-
she takes a couple pictures that are kind of fake that, you know, has his arm over someone, sends it to AJ and goes, hey, I mean, like a real caddy storyline.
Or like a video of like Effie getting into it with a fan and then kind of like her like leaking it out. It's like, hey, this is the footage you don't want your fans to see. Is like you're not all the nice and tight nice when everybody's around. Like in private, you're kind of an asshole. Like I would like to. I agree with you, John. I want to see all the dirt spill. I want to see the story in it here, and I want to see social media used. I think you got a lot of time now to tell some stories, especially as much social media as Effie uses. And his stream and everything else. I think there are a lot of cool things that can be done with the three of them, as you were saying. Now that she's added, that could have been done just the other two.
Music, you said something earlier. You were talking about the basketball game. Because we did the show tonight, I actually I'm going to be celebrating my anniversary tomorrow, so I won't be able to do that. Also, just because on Thanksgiving, 2 days from now, happy birthday to me. I'll be halfway to 90. So 45 years old. Also this in a couple months, I'll be 10 years cancer free. I survived stage 3. So there's like a lot of beautiful things going on. Yeah, man, I shouldn't be here. I should have been dead almost 10 years ago now. So I literally like I barely made it. So it worked out. So just wanted to share some good things with everyone. What else here? I just wrote GCW fans want competitiveness and a clear winner. I've been hearing this over and over. Pick a finish and fuck with them after the match. And if it happens 5+ times in a month, like period, you're just spinning your wheels. Freshen it up. Pushing the same button over and over does not advance the story. Again, you're just spinning wheels on that.
That's what I kind of said before with the lame duck storylines we have. If you're gonna, I mean, yes, of course you have to announce matches ahead of time to sell the pay-per-view, but you locked up half the card already. And now those 10, for almost 15 people are going to be in lame duck, we're back to indie super, dream booking for a couple weeks. They don't have anything to advance their storyline. They're just on the card because you expect them to be on the card.
Yeah.
And they don't have any purpose besides, furthering their point for the Hammerstein show. They don't have any new developments. You're just reinforcing for a couple weeks. And I'm not saying
I can't argue that.
Yeah.
And I don't. And it's December. It's December wrestling shows. Nothing happens. It's just sending the crowd home happy. It is what it is.
All right, Frank. Big question of the night. What matches had the best crowd participation?
Oh, Daddies and Desperados. Easy. People were
really.
Yes.
Are they that over live on the East Coast?
Yes.
Fuck yes, that's what I want to hear.
It's if you couldn't hear it, like I said, I was in the chanting section, leading a lot of these chants. So it was, Cole Roderick's my favorite wrestler, Northeast Beast, Gringo Loco. We tried getting an RS chant going. It's just that RS is just kind of gets lost in the din versus
You guys can't get a Cole Radrick,
Toys R
wrestler.
Cole
Radrick, your favorite wrestler.
Bring Reed up here. Toys R Us train, super over.
Where are we at? Oh, here we go.
Toys R Us train was super over all night because they had one of those.
Can you ride it?
I didn't ride it.
I was going to say, with our sizes, we probably can't ride that shit anymore.
They had a little like those carnival like go-kart style trains behind us, and it was all decked out for Toys R Us. And every time they came around, exactly, yeah.
Can I read?
We were.
Go ahead, buddy.
Sorry, no. We were every time the train came around, we were being our dumbass chanting selves and chanting train Toys R Us, Toys R Us. Effie and Mance, of course, was fucking hot as hell. Speedball and Hakeem did pretty well. Masha and Santana did really well. We were throwing out some out of pocket chants. We were chanting Propofol. That didn't catch pretty well. We want Bubbles, like Bubbles the monkey.
Yes.
Jimmy, Ricky, and Cardona pre-match did amazing. That was super hot. That was loaded with a Holy Shits and a couple others. And I said the duds were VIF and Janela, and then Blue Cane. Like Blue Cane just didn't. I said what I said about Blue Cane already.
Yeah.
So
I think looking back, that was a little cringy, and I think if had the choice, it probably wouldn't do that again. Who knows? Who
It's
knows?
not my money. It's not my card. You know.
Exactly. Okay. So you also, because you were there, I want to ask you, who do you think went over bigger with the non-GCW fans? Like the ones who showed up because, hey, there's a wrestling show, or hey, I was just going to go shop at Bloomingdale's, but there's a wrestling show going on.
Yeah. Like I said, I think it was the scrappiness of Cole and Alec. I think it was Effie, just because I think people latched on to Effie being Effie, and the regulars were latching on to Effie, so the normies were latching on to Effie.
Got it.
The pure, athleticness of Speedball and Sydney was doing pretty well. It's a couple days out and it's super late, so forgive me if I'm missing something.
No, you're good. Yeah, Rose said Effie was super over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Effie's always over, so.
It never, with him, it just never ends. Something about that aura.
Yeah.
Do you think we stop the show here for the night, or do you guys have anything else, or?
No, I think that's it. Yeah.
Poor Frank just wants to see his bed.
For Dream On, yeah.
So,
all right, so Bloodsport coming to us from Frank's look is like, really, you guys?
I wasn't there for Bloodsport, so I can't comment more than the home experience, because I had Family Matters to attend to on Sunday, but I did watch the replay. So,
do you want to go over it quick, me and you, B? We can do something.
That's up to you. I don't know. Like, I'm cooked too. Yeah, I'm like.
I'll write this because I'll be the one to say it. I always like fighters lineups in the beginning because they always line them up. Looks kind of cool. 9 countries were represented. The represented organizations include WWE, AEW, TNA, NJPW, and the Independents. I wrote that Nick and Tankman too easy on each other. Most of the strikes weren't connecting. Mikowski, David Madsmanashvili. That guy is a fucking champion waiting to happen.
Bless
200. Yeah. Madsmanashvili. I actually had to break up his last name so I know how to say it correctly. You can see it now. Guarini and Koo were absolutely entertaining and more of the Bloodsport style that I would like to watch. Their chemistry added a layer of interest. More tag teams in Bloodsport, please. Dempsey and Williams, they had some contact, looked better than some of the other fights. Dempsey and Miles Bourne would actually accompany each other to the ring during their matches. Jody Threat and Shafir. Moxley comes out with Shafir. That match went harder.
I enjoyed Kevin and Dom and Jody and Masha were actually 2 of the matches I enjoyed more on the card.
Like Brett said,
the women throw it down.
Like Brett said, Jody's taking her game to another level. Like, yeah, I want to see her more. Just not just in Bloodsport. I want to see Bloodsport, but I want to see her in GCW ring again.
She's only really appeared on she appeared on a backyard.
And that was like a totally different version of her. That was a comedy version of her. We're here. It's all match long.
Well, it's the backyard. It's the backyard gimmick. Everybody loves their backyard. Yeah.
But I loved her since then. Like now I've actually seen she can really wrestle. She's not a comedy act. Back then I was still new to everything. So now seeing how she's been looking at Bloodsport in Impact Wrestling and everything else, like I want to see more of her in GCW as both Bloodsport and regular, because she's like gotten a lot better from what I remember seeing her in backyard.
And she had at least one killer match with GCW when they went up to Canada. I just can't remember if it was in Montreal or Quebec, but yeah, she had a killer match up there. And is it IWS? I think it might be IWS up there that she wrestles for. But looking at her,
so.
Yeah, I'm like, she looks like a legitimate badass. That's the type of wrestler I like to see.
Yep.
Masha Slamovich and Li Ying Li. Masha Two Belts was out there. Both of these ladies were from TNA. Masha was defending her TNA Knockouts World Champion. Isaacs and Bourne defined by groundwork and handwork. It felt like this was another level up for Bloodsport. After the Isaacs win, I watched an older lady flip off Isaacs as he was leaving, like one of those ladies from the 60s that still believe wrestling's real, and she's in the crowd like, fuck you.
So great.
She was doing that. Barnett and MVP, I just put 2 mature men fighting. There was some good stuff in there, but for me, Alexander and Bailey was the match of the night. It was an emotional roller coaster. Athleticism was on full display. They fought in a larger circle than just the ring. Also, that was more than any other match. I couldn't dismiss the TNA chance. To me, it overshadowed the main event. So that's everything I had to say in a 7-minute to 8-minute nutshell. Thanks for hanging in, because I really had to watch Bloodsport, and it's not always my favorite event. So
I don't even
hope you
want to tell
appreciated
you.
it, Britt.
I took notes like MMA notes. Like I went play by play, like takedown, sweep, transition, and then you said Brett was coming on, deleted that. I'm like, bye Bloodsport. Sorry, just because Bloodsport has nothing to, like. We're talking about stories, GCW, Hammerstein. Now I'm glad it's being integrated into Hammerstein. I was really looking forward to that.
It is kind of its own little thing outside of the standard storyline. Yeah.
So that's why I didn't want to. I had good notes on it, but once we found out everything else that happened before the show, I kind of erased my Bloodsport notes. But my main takeaways too, yeah, Jody Threat looked awesome. Speedball versus Alexander, I want to see that again. I was kind of hoping MVP and Barnett would lead to Lashley and Barnett, and maybe
shout out to Akira, who was recovering from a nasty injury from a death match the other night.
That was a cut, yeah.
Who is going to Japan soon for an extended tour of Japan. So hope you rest up. Hope he kills it over in Japan. So
feel better.
I wish we saw him in GCW more, but that's how the cards land. So
I'm open to see him do some death matches again. I do actually miss him. I think he did a damn good job, and I'd like to see him back. That's another one where I'm like, he shows up, you're going to get a show, and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe at some point, but yeah, he's another one. Just he'd be somebody I'd like to see back at least once in a while. Okay, well then we'll go into the upcoming shows. We will not be reviewing this show next week because, again, we're going to have Effie on the show. He's going to be ready to talk, and we're just going to get out of the way and let him do his thing.
You're giving Effie a live mic and a camera. You know what you're doing, John.
We gave Brett a live mic. Well, not a camera, but we gave Brett a live mic tonight. I know, like the chances of getting both of them back-to-back weeks is kind of nuts.
We're working with GCW, so we're able to kind of get a little bit of help here and there on some things. With Effie, this one was planned for a while, and we just finally got everything under control. We locked it in with him weeks ago, and then this just so happens.
The day we were going to announce it.
Right. So I get a hold of B, and I'm like, dude, should we just go ahead and just announce it instead of making people listen to the show? Should we just go ahead and announce this fucker? Because I think there's too much going on. It's too big right now. So, yeah, Effie, Game Changer Weekly are really good working partners with each other, and you will be seeing Effie in full as long as Effie is willing to talk next week. This upcoming show
and booze.
Bring the popcorn.
I thought you said free sex and booze. Or did you?
Hey, it's Effie.
The Effie show, yeah.
Fuck yeah. All right. Next week's going to be GCW's You Wouldn't Understand from the Roulette Intermedium in New York, New York. We have Alley Catch versus Microman, which after Alley has just dropped the challenger in our world championship, I'd have to say she's probably going to throw Microman all the way across the continent.
I want to see it. I want to see Microman be slid across the bar. That's what I want to see.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. Or he slides her across the bar. Even more interesting. We do have a 6-man tag team. I don't know. I'm just getting the visual of him getting up there and having to slide her across the bar.
What happens if now we're 3 boys?
Yeah.
Right.
The Spectral. Yeah, that's going to be a dark match. The Spectral Envoy, Frightmare, Hollow Wicked, and Ultramanus Black will be taking on Los Desperados. That's going to be Ares, Azrael, and Gringo Loco. Haven't seen Azrael in a while. Next will be Brooke Havoc versus Zeta Steel. I believe someone in chat asked about the new lady. That's going to be who it is. That's Zeta Steel, a really hot commodity right now as an independent wrestler. We have a GCW World Title match. I like this one, and I almost think that he would be someone that would be good in an ECW match at Hammerstein. Homicide will take on our GCW World Champion, Mance Warner. Any thoughts on those little matchups or any comments here before we?
Like I said, it's a lame duck match, but Mance versus Homicide is going.
That's going to be fun.
Fuck.
I can't wait to hear that music in the auditorium again. Or what is it?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it's called.
I love that. Where it's like, ring,
Yeah. The best entrance I've ever seen, like I want to say almost like the most memorable one in wrestling was Homicide versus Minoru Suzuki. Those two entrances in New York and the
I was
crowd.
live for that show. That was a wild entrance, and just sitting there watching Emil announce Minoru Suzuki versus Homicide.
Okay, I want to hear. Yeah, we had to talk about that one because I was like, I went back after I saw it and watched it like for 2 days straight, like just listening to it because like the crowd was so into Kaze Nina Ray. That's like one of the best
That
that's
was
ever
one of the
been done
first.
in
I
the
think that was one of the
States.
first. That was one of the first Minoru entrances in America. I think.
Yeah, I
I think that was
think
one of the first.
was that before
Where it
or
was
after Nick
early.
Gage?
It was early in that run where Suzuki was doing a ton of American shows, and I think that was the first time that Americans finally hit the Kaze Nina Ray correctly.
And yeah, there you go, correctly. Because I saw what's his name, Suzuki at an Impact, and like nobody sang it. I was like the only one standing up singing it. I'm like, what the? And then like the second time on the TV typing, they cut it off before he got to it. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like,
And then Twitter blew up on this. Like, how the fuck do you cut off his entrance?
and then
before
AEW
Kaze
did
Nina
the
Ray?
same thing too. Yeah,
Yeah.
and AEW did the same thing. It's like, what are we doing over here? But yeah, that was one of the most memorable entrances is Homicide, and then the Kaze Nina Ray. Like the lights,
Suzuki
the strobes
incident.
was perfect,
Great one
man.
said it. Yeah, the Suzuki incident.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, I remember going back and forth some Impact guy. Oh, that was fun.
Since Blake was in here, I want to mention something that he'd actually written earlier tonight. Might be a good way to kind of start closing out the show. He says, a lot of people seem to forget some of the things I've accomplished. TNA, NJPW, AEW, Ring of Honor, and WWE. Traveled to numerous countries and wrestled top talent all over the world. Finals of the Super X Cup. Competed in the Super J Cup. Opened eyes in BOSJ. Most defenses as GCW champion. Wrestled for ROH, NJPW, TNA, and GCW in one day. I didn't get all these things for nothing. These things weren't handed to me. I worked my ass off for this. Started from a nobody, working for $10 in front of 20 people, giving my all and working my ass off. It's time to get back to that feeling, you can't tie me down. I like that.
He had to throw it in there, didn't he?
I love it.
Oh, God damn it, Blake.
I fucking love it. I love
He had me in the first half, and then motherfucker.
I tried to kind of pick up the speed at the end to make it all sound motivational, but yeah. At 3.5 in, we're looking at what? You said around 3,000 people in here right now. We did it.
Oh, 3,057 right now.
Thank you so much.
I'm gonna quote the great Ferris Bueller and say, "What are you doing here? Go home. It's over."
Right?
Go home, Blake.
Exactly. Oh man. Yeah, what a night.
We did it, man. Night. I'm so happy. This was a good night. Thank you for the fucking everybody hanging in because we were stressed. I'm trying to get a shower before the show because you always try to get your mind right. And I've got DMs. I've got 7 DMs sitting here right now that I have to get a hold. Like I have to. It's been wild. And then I'm trying to get a hold of Effie going, hey man, things are crazy. You still good to go for next week? He's like, fuck it, let's go. So he's good to go. And then Brett's like, hey, you shooting a show tonight? Let's talk. And I'm just like a nervous wreck.
You got a yo tonight. Feel good about yourself.
You know, honestly, I really should. This was a very good night.
What?
But that's Brett's very famous.
Oh yeah, text. Yeah. Yo. Yep. I don't know where.
Yeah, thank you everyone for coming out tonight. This was a big night for us. This was our first night that we were able to announce that we were with GCW, working with GCW. We're very proud of that. It was 2.5 years or so in the making of a goal. All we wanted to do was just provide content because we felt as fans we didn't have enough. So we just said, fuck it, we're going to do it. And because we've stuck with it over many, many difficult years, we're in a position where we're fortunate enough to try to dictate the kind of entertainment that other fans with GCW can now listen to. So we are trying our best, just like Brett Lauderdale. He's just one man trying his best. Brett is just one man trying his best. Frank, same way. So let's be kind to each other. We're going to do our best out there. Let's be supportive. We have a fantastic community. Everyone is allowed into our community as long as you ain't no asshole. And even if you are, we probably have a second community just for you guys. That's Fight Club. We need to start an asshole fight club. Fuck yeah, Bloodsport. But yeah, thank you for everything. Thank you, Frank, for coming on here, our East Coast correspondent, giving us everything that we could possibly ask for. We appreciate everything you bring to
I
the
was trying
table.
some stuff this week. Unfortunately, it didn't work out this first time around, but
Fuck it.
keep your eyes open for the Twitters. That I might be working on some stuff next time GCW comes around Jersey. So
Hell, see
yeah,
now
yes, yes.
that's what's up. Yep. So there you go. Is there anything else we wanted to announce, or I feel like we've covered?
highlight Rose one before we leave. Highlight Rose. Thank you.
Boom.
Thank you.
The number
The
one
quaff.
fool. There we go.
You can't fight the quaff. Look at that thing.
No, my thing was, I know it kind of got overshadowed. Yeah, I didn't even realize that this was our first night to actually talk about the Patreon finally and everything.
Yeah, the first words out of Brett's mouth tonight when he joined was like, "Is that Pompadour guy?" Branding yourself.
Also,
There you go.
Ezra, it's good to see you in here. It's been a while.
That was
Good
been a
to
while,
see
yeah.
you. Gosh, there's been chat every week has just been better and better. No shit. You could come in here and just chat it up, man. This is great.
We didn't have no
happy
argument
Thanksgiving
tonight.
to everyone. Also, happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
For those who celebrate, we hope you get just a little bit fatter, and we hope it goes away the next day.
No, it ain't gonna work that way. No, real fast. I just want to say, thank you everybody, because the Patreon was a big deal since we started the podcast, and that was a big goal. So to finally be able to, record last week after our show the next night, and then to finally announce it was cool. And so far, it seems like the feedback's kind of good. Yeah, I gotta get my Patreon hooked up there. I'm not on the. I gotta raise my Patreon status here because I'm not on that tier yet, but I will do so I can listen to my own material here and see the comments. But from what it sounds like, we got good ones, and please, any feedback you have, let us know.
That math in there, Brett.
What's that?
Brett? You gotta pay to hear your own stuff. I'd be like,
Right. Well, that's what I said. I gotta work on it. We're gonna work on this here.
Yeah, we're working on that.
Great one. So am I. And I just found out. I thought that was the History of GCW podcast, but I guess not. I think it might be the $9 one or the $10 one.
I think it's 12 or something like. It's the next one up from 6.
I think the $6 is just the mailbag, right?
Maybe, in the announcements. Oh yeah, I haven't even got any show announcements or ticket shows. Yeah, you might be right there. I gotta up my tier. It's been a while. It's been a while since I messed with this. So,
I'll get a hold of Steven. We got this. We'll
that's cool. Yeah. But Patreon was a big deal, so thank you all. And with the craziness of every news thing that happened right before our podcast, how much our show had literally changed on the fly till we went live, was crazy. But I didn't want to mention that. And thank you for everybody hopping in tonight. We definitely set records tonight, 3,000 listeners, and it was a fun night, and we only get bigger next week. We got Effie coming on, and especially after this week, I think Effie's.
I'm glad I'm not riding along for that one.
Effie's gonna have a lot to say next week. I like to see. So,
when he and I talk, we're gonna have a good fucking time. We are gonna have a great time. I don't even think I'm gonna write a single note. We're just gonna sit down and talk. That's always been the best way, it seems. He naturally flows. No shit. All you have to do is say go, and he'll give you 5 subjects in the first 10 minutes. So, I mean, he's one of the most easy to talk to people and very easy interview. So it's going to be a great time. Here we go again, Rose. Love you, Chuds. Love you too, guys. Reed
No
here.
Chuds allowed.
No Chuds.
No Chuds allowed.
Okay. All the Chuds can come to my house then. We'll have a little party. We'll have a Chud party. That sounds so disgusting.
That's worse than most things we say on this podcast. Jesus Christ.
That's true. Well, thank you, everyone. We love you. This has been a great night. We're going to have another one next week. We're going to post these up and get everything rolling. And thank you so much. We ready to, oh God, poor Brent Stein. You good? You poor bastard.
He's still recovering. I'm good now, though. Yeah. AJ and Justice.
Love you, whatever you are. We love you for whatever you are. All right, no chubby chud. Oh, come on. Okay,
we gotta go.
That's
all
worse.
The chubby chuds
That's worse
over
than
here.
chuds.
Yes, that was worse.
Okay, we're just having fun now. All right. Who
thank
needs
you,
more
everyone.
weed? Oh, sorry. Okay. I'll talk to you later. Love you guys. Have a great one.
And long
live
GCW.
You'll never get it right.
Never.
Never.